My daily life in a TV series. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 101, Monica, the Unbelieving. Central Perk Cafe. I want $1 million. Seeing Ross shouting that he wanted to get married and a bride appeared, Chandler, who was always good at complaining, immediately made a serious wish. Rachel. Monica recognized the person. It was her high school best friend, whom she met in a bar a year ago. When she said hypocritically, "We must drink coffee together next time," she bet that she would never see the woman again in this life. Thinking of this, she couldn't help but look at Adam, and saw Adam making a gesture of counting money, and immediately had a headache. $500. God, why did she raise the bet so confidently at that time? If she was given another chance, well, it seems that she would still raise the bet. Monica. Rachel looked over, and immediately rushed over excitedly, gave the confused Monica a warm hug, and said repeatedly, "Thank God, luckily you are here." The waiter asked, "Would you like a cup of coffee?" Monica immediately reminded, "Decaf." She seriously suspected that Rachel was high. "Everyone, let me introduce you. This is my high school classmate, another survivor of Lincoln High School, Rachel Green." Monica pulled her and introduced her to everyone. Hi tilde the first normal hi, Adam and Phoebe. The second wave of hi, Joey and Ross. A year ago, Chandler, who tried to attract Rachel with billiards and became the one Rachel said she would have a crazy night with, just waved his hand with a slightly embarrassed expression. Rachel's eyes were immediately attracted by Adam. What a strange and familiar face. Monica introduced everyone to Rachel. "This is Chandler, Adam, Joey, Phoebe, and my brother Ross. Remember?" Of course. Rachel withdrew her gaze with difficulty and paused slightly on Chandler. She always felt that this man was also a little familiar, as if she had seen him somewhere, but she didn't think much about it. She smiled and looked at Ross, Monica's weird brother, and wanted to give Ross a polite hug. Hi. Ross was so excited when he saw his former dream lover appear in the form of a bride in response to his call. He was already in a mess. He never thought that Rachel would actually hug him. Seeing her coming over, he instinctively stretched out his hand to shake her hand, but unfortunately he was holding an umbrella in his hand, which directly blocked Rachel. He was so flustered that he didn't dare to do anything. He sat back and cursed himself in his heart. "So, what's the situation now?" After Rachel sat down, Monica teased, "Do you want to wait for the 4 wed bridesmaids to come? It will start half an hour before the wedding." Rachel began to tell her story of running away from marriage. It turned out that she was opening gifts in the room where gifts were stored. She saw an exquisite sauce bottle and played with it excitedly for a long time. Then she suddenly realized that she was more interested in this sauce bottle than her fiancé Barry. She was scared, and then another thought flashed in her mind. Her fiancé Barry really looked like Mr. Potato Head. Then, there were all kinds of "who am I? Why am I doing this? Who am I doing this for?" Philosophical thoughts rolled in her mind. So, she ran away from her marriage. "I don't know where to go. I know our relationship has become a little distant, but you are the only person I know in this city. I haven't been invited to the wedding yet," Monica said faintly. "Oh," Rachel said embarrassedly, "I can only hope that this is not a problem." Adam used his recently learned psychological analysis to observe coldly, but he realized that the problem was not just what Rachel said. There must be other reasons. Even this reason was the fuse that triggered a series of reasons for her to follow up. It's just that this reason may be too private, or she is not sure, and even she herself did not realize it, so she didn't say it. "Of course, no problem." Monica is such a generous person, taking Rachel back to the apartment. While Rachel was calling her father to explain, Monica took out her pocket and counted. There was only $69. She handed it to Adam with a heart. "Pay $69 first, and the remaining $431 will be paid tomorrow." "No, later." As a chef, her income is not low, but she is a person who lives a refined life. She even prepares high-end dishes for the queen who will never appear in her house. She can't save any money at all, otherwise, She would not be so embarrassed to borrow money from her parents after being unemployed for a period of time. If it were possible, she would never ask for it. You know, her parents, especially her mother, look down on her in various ways, which has always been the biggest pain in her heart. Every time her parents come to the apartment as a guest, she will do the preparation work to the extreme, even patting the sofa pillows again and again, and the tension of obsessive-compulsive disorder even scared her former roommate Phoebe. Why? Isn't it just to make her mother speechless? Monica, why do you owe Adam so much money? Phoebe asked curiously. Borrowing money between friends is an embarrassing thing in any country. The saying that talking about money hurts feelings, and talking about feelings hurts money is absolutely true. Therefore, when getting along with friends, try not to talk about money. I lost the bet to him, Monica said depressedly. In the Credit Card Society of the United States, $500 in cash is definitely a lot of money, and she really can't take it out for a while. What bet? Seeing Chandler laughing beside him, obviously knowing the inside story, Phoebe immediately asked. She hated it most when others knew but she didn't, because that would make her feel like she was excluded from the circle of friends. Nothing. Monica glanced at Rachel who was on the phone, and it was not easy to bring up the original bet. What bet? Phoebe was dissatisfied. She went straight to Monica and threatened, "If you don't tell me, I will keep asking." What bet? What bet? Okay. Monica could only raise her hand. Last year we met Rachel in the bar. She asked me to have coffee next time, and I made a bet with Adam that I would never see her again. The deadline is 2 years, and the bet has been increased to 500. It's only been a year now, damn it. Seeing Adam took her money with a smile, Monica's competitive and stubborn nature came up again, and she pulled Adam to make another bet. Let's bet again. What bet? Adam smiled. Bet. Monica thought about it again and again, and suddenly glanced at Rachel's wedding dress, and an idea came to her. Let's bet on whether Rachel and the fiancé she ran away from can walk into the church again. I bet they won't. It's your turn. Are you sure? Adam looked at her strangely. Of course. Monica shouted confidently, I bet $500. But the deadline is still 2 years. The probability of running away from marriage and remarrying is really slim. She doesn't believe that Rachel dares to walk into the church again and face a large group of relatives and friends who have been stood up before. She will definitely win. Adam grinned. Do you want to raise the bet? Chapter 102. You lost money, but I lost love. 520. In a similar scenario, Monica, who had already lost once, still chose to raise the bet without hesitation, always so confident. I'll add $500, a total of $1,000. Wow, Phoebe immediately exclaimed, such a big bet? Are you sure? Chandler said, you were so confident last time, now you owe Adam $431. Monica hesitated, but when she glanced at the smiling Adam, her temper suddenly came up, and she gritted her teeth and said, I'm sure. I don't believe I can't win even once. Adam, do you dare to bet? How about a smaller bet? Adam kindly reminded. Everything is possible. Monica hesitated, but then, she who had been listening to the conversation between Rachel and her father, suddenly smiled, waved her hand and said, just $1,000. Over there, Rachel was holding the phone and explaining to her father, I'm sorry, Dad. I just suddenly realized that I don't love him at all. It doesn't matter whether you love him or not, you have to attend the wedding. It cost me $40,000. I won't allow you to waste my hard-earned money like this, just for some bullshit love. Rachel's father's roar came faintly from the other end of the phone. Rachel said angrily, love is very important to me. You only lost $40,000. And you can make it back by doing a few operations. What I lost is my love and life. On the other end of the phone, Rachel's father was speechless by his precious daughter's self-righteousness. Listen, Dad. Seeing that her father didn't speak, Rachel was also a little flustered. After all, she had relied on him since she was a child, and he was the first person she wanted to win over and gain recognition after escaping marriage. So she quickly racked her brains to explain. It's like, in my life, everyone has been telling me you are a shoe, you are a shoe, you are a shoe, but today I stopped and thought, what if I don't want to be a shoe? What if I want to be a bag or a hat? On the other end of the phone, Rachel's father breathed a sigh of relief. He finally got it. He understood this logic, so he smiled and said, "As long as you come back to attend the wedding, you can buy new bags and new hats." Rachel shouted speechlessly, "I'm not asking you to buy me bags and hats. This is just a metaphor. Dad, what on earth are you going to do?" On the other end of the phone, Rachel's father was also a little angry. "Dad, this is my life." Rachel tried her best to get her father's approval, but this time, she was interrupted by her father before she could say anything. "You are disobedient, you have nothing, and you are going to wander around outside without money? Maybe I can live with Monica." Rachel muttered. "Then you can live with her, and you don't want money if you don't come back," Rachel's father said coldly. "Oh, maybe I don't need your money." Rachel didn't care and acted like a spoiled child as before. According to the routine, the final result should be that her father gave up and coaxed her by saying that he would definitely give her money and buy her various gifts. But the result was, beep, the dead tone of the phone being hung up. Rachel immediately panicked and subconsciously shouted, "Wait, I said maybe, Dad." She looked at the phone again, and saw that her father really hung up the phone. She glanced at everyone looking at her, and immediately smiled embarrassedly. "It seems that the person who will live with Monica has been selected." Monica teased with a smile, and gave Adam a smug look, meaning that this is it, the wedding is completely ruined, and she has won. "Little guy, I can't cure you." Adam was happy in his heart, and said with a smile, "Do you want to continue to raise the bet?" "If you want to raise it, then raise it." "Monica, what are you doing?" Ross, who has always been very sensitive and careful about money, stopped her and reminded her, "You can't bet against Adam. He is so rich, it doesn't matter if he loses. If you raise the bet again. If you lose, can you afford it?" "What are you betting on?" Rachel asked curiously. Nothing." Monica was speechless for a moment, and didn't mention the bet. She said perfunctorily and quickly changed the subject. "So, Rachel, are you really not going back?" Woo woo woo. It would have been better if she didn't mention it. Once she mentioned it, Rachel burst into tears. Her father didn't understand her and threatened to cut off her money. She was too wronged. "Here." Monica quickly handed a paper bag to Rachel and reminded her, "Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath." It is said that breathing with a paper bag can help adjust breathing and relieve emotions. As for whether it really works, it depends on personal opinion. Raindrops on roses, bunnies and kittens, and bluebells. I don't know if the paper bag worked, but facing Phoebe's magical singing, Rachel even forgot to cry, rolled her eyes and said, "No need to sing, I'm much better. Maybe it's good this way. You're independent now." Monica comforted, "If you need anything, you can always come to Joey. Chandler and I live across the street, and he's often not at home." Joey touched Rachel's naked shoulder and teased. Adam glanced at Ross and saw that he didn't care, so he couldn't help but admire him secretly. "Joey, don't seduce her," Monica shouted. "Today is her wedding day." "What's wrong?" Joey said nonchalantly. "Is there any explicit rule that says you can't do that?" Beep. The communicator in the room rang. Chandler walked over with a heartless pace, pressed the call button, and mocked, "Please don't do that. It's very noisy." "I'm Paul." A male voice sounded on the other end of the communicator. "Let him in." Monica immediately let go of Rachel and stood up. "Paul? Your date is that bartender Paul? He finally asked you out." Everyone was talking about it. It's hard to keep a secret in such a close circle of friends. Adam and the others have been to the restaurant where Monica works and have seen this bartender named Paul. He is indeed a handsome guy. No wonder Monica has always had ideas. That's right, even if Monica was still craving Adam at that time, how could there be too few handsome guys? It's the same for men and women. Absolute infatuation is a myth. It's reality to want everything. "Rachel, do you want me to stay?" Monica was also a little excited, but she still put her friends first, even if this fake sister didn't even invite her to the wedding. "No, I'm fine." Rachel smiled and waved her hand, showing that she still has some vision. "Ross, do you want me to stay with you?" Monica naturally didn't forget her miserable brother. "That's the best." Ross pretended to be happy, and when Monica wanted to stay, he laughed and said, "No way, go." He's Paul the bartender. Monica went on a date. Rachel stayed for the time being and officially joined the ranks of old friends. Chapter 103 More than friends, but less than lovers. The next night, Central Park Cafe. Why? As soon as Monica entered the room, she asked Adam 3 questions in a row. What's wrong? Adam was puzzled. Are all men liars? Monica was obviously very angry and directly opened fire. It depends on the state. Adam smiled and said, men are crazy like demons before the event, and saintly like Buddha after the event. What kind of men are you asking about? Is there any difference? They are all liars, Monica said unhappily. Adam was speechless and nodded. That's right. In the indescribable aspect, men are all liars. Whether it is the devil who keeps deceiving with indescribable intentions before the event, or the saintly Buddha who keeps perfunctorily pretending to just want to sleep after the event, they are indeed all liars. Phoebe guessed something. Didn't your date with Paul go well? No way. You let him stay overnight. I just regret letting him stay overnight. What a liar, Monica said angrily. He lied to me that I felt sorry for him, but who knew he used the same trick to deceive my colleagues? I thought I had done such a good thing. Ah, Phoebe exclaimed, then couldn't help laughing. What happened? I had my first date with him last night, and I wasn't prepared for things to develop so quickly. Monica was eager to talk and complain, so she said everything. But on the date, he took the initiative to mention his ex and seemed to be hesitant to talk. Of course I asked, and then he told me that when they broke up, he smashed his ex's watch. As for the reason, it was because his ex cheated and dumped him. Then what? Phoebe asked. Then he mentioned that because of the green shadow, he hadn't had sex for 2 years. 2 years, Monica said angrily. I sprayed the wine at that time, saying that he smashed it well. I was soft-hearted and couldn't resist, so I invited him to have coffee directly. He. Adam vaguely remembered that he was deceived and couldn't help laughing. What are you laughing at? Monica said angrily. I'm laughing at you for dating many boyfriends, and you even believe this. Adam teased. If what he said is true, such a shameful thing. He would never say it on the first date, or even never say it. I thought I was special, and he couldn't help but open his heart. Monica said with a depressed look. Haha, I don't know if he opened his heart, but you opened your heart to him. Adam laughed. This once again verifies my theory. In love, men and women are opponents. Whoever cares more loses, and obviously you lose. That's right. He stopped pretending and showed his cards. Well, actually, after being together for a long time, Adam's theory of love without falling in love and Joey's theory of only hanging out for one night were naturally known by Monica and the others, and they were called the 2 theories of scumbag men. Your theory is a fallacy, Monica retorted. What if I really meet such a person? Do you know how I felt this morning? I know. Phoebe raised her hand and shouted. The curve of your mouth can't stop at all. God, that's a happy smile. Absolutely correct, Tilda. Monica pointed a finger and echoed in a high voice. Although I made a mistake this time, it doesn't mean that I will always make mistakes in the future. Wait. Adam waved his hand to interrupt. Don't get excited. It's just a smile formed by the pleasure after the fact and the illusion of helping people to be excited. It can't be elevated to the level of lifelong love and happiness, right? Monica was stunned and her face fell immediately. Adam's words were not so logical. Before she knew that Paul was a big liar, she was much happier than usual because she felt that she had helped Paul a lot. Otherwise, it would just be a pleasure after a night out. Her happiness should not be so cheap. It's better for us to pursue it than for you to give up directly. Phoebe comforted Monica by hitting Adam. You and Carolyn, will you continue to be so unclear? And Juno and Karen who came last time? Me, Juno, Karen, are just like you. Pure friends. Adam smiled and explained, as for Carolyn, we are more than friends, but less than lovers. We help each other and do what we want. Isn't that good? More than friends, but less than lovers? Monica said contemptuously. I don't think she will be promoted to a lover in her life. Yes, Phoebe echoed. Men are always fickle. If you are not prepared to be lovers at the beginning, will it be okay in the future? I don't believe in love that grows over time. Adam's mouth twitched and he was speechless. Isn't it complaining about Monica being cheated and hooked up, How did it become his criticism? He thinks he is more reliable than Joey. Joey is enthusiastic about dating other girls most of the time, but after getting the girl that night, no matter how much the girl wants to continue, he simply stops contacting her. The number of times is outrageous, so much so that in the future, when Joey meets a woman he had one night with before, they can't recognize each other. It's really a match made in heaven. Although it was later proved that he had actually hooked up with the other's roommate, Joey was not surprised that he couldn't remember the other, but was just angry that the other had forgotten him, because he had hooked up with too many women. In the future in Barney and Looking for Mom, they are known as two playboys who divide up all of the girls in New York. He is originally a simple-minded person. How can he remember so many girls clearly? So he usually forgets them after hooking up with them, and only remembers the ones he didn't get. Adam used to directly express his attitude, and it was up to the other party to decide whether it would work, and he didn't have the attitude of Joey, who only hooked up for one night. When they arrived in New York, they found that the previous method was too straightforward and not very suitable for the habits of big cities, so they changed to a tacit understanding, that is the so-called magical state of more than friends, less than lovers. Of course, it is impossible to get in, but if you take a step back, you can be friends again, and it is countless times safer than Joey and Barney's unscrupulous wandering around New York. This change happened when Adam was a volunteer at the New York University Medical Center, because here, he has heard a lot of sensational stories, and then he remembered that this is the world of American dramas, not only warm and funny, suspenseful and terrifying, but also chilling and abominable. Joey was selected as a model for a public service advertisement. When others saw him, they walked around him. His family didn't let him go back for Christmas. Didn't they know that he was just an advertisement model? No, of course they knew, but they knew Joey's style even more. It would be strange if they didn't have doubts in their hearts. That is, Chandler and others were with Joey every day, and Joey couldn't hide it from them if there was any problem. Otherwise it would be hard to guarantee that they would stay away from him. Chapter 104 Rachel's Grimm's Fairy Tales 520. On the way back, Monica threatened Adam and Phoebe not to tell this embarrassing thing. As a result, of course, everyone knew about it. So, there was another laugh. The attitudes of boys and girls are completely different. Chandler, Joey and others kept ridiculing Monica for not even being able to see this. Phoebe and Rachel comforted Monica and denounced the shameless methods of the scumbag. Adam, help me see. Is it okay to write like this? After Rachel ran away from her marriage, she first went to her father to explain, and then to her ex-fiancé to explain, but both ended in failure. Finally, under the persuasion of Monica and others, she stayed and prepared to be an independent woman who is popular. Then she found that except for her, everyone had a so-called job, and they all had to work to eat and shop. This made her feel very novel and wanted to try to find a job to support herself independently. And because of Adam's existence, her first thought was to learn from Adam to write a novel. By the way, she is a loyal fan of Lube and has read all the books of Nora Bean. When she saw Midnight Cool written by Nora, she was full of thoughts about becoming a writer. However, in the past, under the pampering of her doctor father, this idea was just a flash. Now, forced by life, with Adam, a famous writer, as a successful example, it is impossible for her to find a job as a cafe waitress. A writer, famous, rich and prestigious, is no worse than a fashion guru, which is completely in line with her identity. She, Rachel Green, of course, wants to become a world-famous female writer like her idol Nora Bean. She wants to write her own Grimm's fairy tales, which makes her excited. Everything is difficult at the beginning. She asked Adam for advice. Adam asked her what type of novel she was going to write. She thought about it, and as expected, she wanted to write the type she liked to read the most, that is, the color novels of Nora Bean, Adam's benefactor on the road to becoming a writer. This is definitely not a joke. She really likes this kind of novel, and Joey has even turned it out from under her pillow in the future. You know, a beauty like her, if she wants, will she lack practical experience? If she is not lacking in practical experience, she is still holding on to this kind of book. What else can it be but true love? So, Adam told Rachel the essence of writing erotic novels summarized by Nora. Rachel was overjoyed and began to stay in the apartment to create. So fast, Adam took the manuscript and counted it. There were more than 10 pages densely packed. He was surprised. You know, it has been less than 24 hours since Rachel had this idea. Interest is really the best teacher. Rachel wrote a novel. Monica and others immediately threw away the part about being deceived and came over to read it with Adam. OMG, Monica exclaimed. Rachel, I remember you said you wanted to write your own Grimm's fairy tale. Are you sure this is a fairy tale? You're not mistaken. Adam smiled as he looked at Rachel's masterpiece, explaining, if you've read the original Grimm's fairy tale, you won't be surprised. Impossible. How can they be the same? Monica and Phoebe shouted in disbelief. Joey was puzzled. Chandler and Ross, who had studied in college and were very educated, smiled knowingly. The Grimm's fairy tales were constantly revised and gradually developed into the current fairy tales, but fairy tales are all lies. The original fairy tales are completely dark, very yellow and violent, just like the novel written by Rachel. All are 18+. How is it? Rachel stared at Adam nervously. Those beautiful ideas she had before completely disappeared after she knew Adam's view of love. Under normal circumstances, a scumbag who holds the same view of love as Adam and Joey, no matter how handsome he is, will make a lot of girls stay away. Well, for a novice, it's pretty good. Adam thought about it and gave her affirmation first. Newcomers need encouragement. And he didn't lie. In less than a day, Rachel, who was neither a top student nor a pure newcomer who had never done writing work, actually wrote such a long paragraph. It was really not easy. OMG, did you hear that? Adam said I wrote well. Rachel covered her mouth and looked around excitedly. I heard it. Rachel, you're great. The future famous female writer, Ms. Rachel Green. Everyone started to make noise, only Chandler's expression was a little strange. Obviously this reminded him of the mother of the famous female writer who made him love and hate. But what? Phoebe interrupted the atmosphere and looked at Adam. But what? Rachel was stunned. Usually in this situation, it starts with a compliment, and then there's a twist. Phoebe said seriously, just like when we want to break up with a man, we will first say that you are a good person, but we are not suitable. Rachel was speechless, because she felt that what Phoebe said made sense, so she looked at Adam pitifully. Phoebe has revealed the key to the nice guy card. Adam laughed and teased, then looked at Rachel and said thoughtfully, as a newcomer, you are already very good, but you do have some shortcomings. For example, the plot is too simple and crude, and the euphemisms that cannot be described are too blunt. They are all homophones. In order to pursue homophones, sometimes the words do not express the meaning, which deviates from the original intention. Rachel suddenly realized and exclaimed, then what should I do? I can only think of homophones. You can use more metaphors. Adam joked, I remember when you explained to your father, you used all kinds of metaphors well, but my father doesn't understand. Rachel said subconsciously, and then saw that everyone was holding back their laughter, and immediately reacted, and came forward to fight Adam, with a delicate voice, which made Adam shudder and quickly raised his hands to surrender. This is another place where he is not used to getting along with his friends in American TV series. Too intimate, too much physical contact. Both young men and women, handsome men and pretty women, if their eyes don't make a mistake, it's easy to get into trouble. This is not a joke. Adam explained, this kind of description, allusions or metaphors, are more upscale than simple homophonic puns, and have a wider range and more options. It's much better than your rigid homophonic puns that don't express the meaning. But I can't think of these, Rachel said with a headache. Then you need to read more, experience life more, think more, and practice writing more. Adam spread his hands and said, writing a novel is not an easy thing. Is that so? Rachel looked embarrassed and a little confused. She was the one who changed her major in college because it was difficult to park in her major's teaching building. When she encountered difficulties, she always took a detour. How could she adapt to this for a while? Before, she cut off her credit cards at the instigation of Ross and Monica. Now it seems that she can't become a god with one book. It's really hard for her. Chapter 105. The Tathagata of the Western Paradise. 1 month later, Apartment 520. Rachel's dream of becoming a writer was shattered. Forced by life, she began to look for a job. However, after submitting countless resumes, no one wanted her. In the end, Gunter, the manager of the Central Perk Cafe, had a crush on her. Even though she was clumsy and not suitable at all, he still offered her a waitress job. However, with Adam as a living example by her side, she did not completely give up writing. So, she lived the life of Adam in his previous life, working and writing in her spare time. Life was quite enjoyable until she contacted her ex-fiancé again and prepared to return the engagement ring to him. "Has anyone seen my engagement ring?" Rachel touched her fingers and hurriedly walked out of the bedroom. "If you want to act big, you don't have to stand so far away, right?" Adam teased casually, with a different kind of silkiness. "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." Rachel glared at Adam, and then fell into madness again. "Are you not panicking enough? I'm going to return the diamond ring soon, but the diamond ring is gone. What should I say to Barry? Should I say, 'Hey, remember the girl who left you at the altar in a wedding dress and made you lose face in front of everyone? She lost your heirloom engagement ring again.'" "Relax." Adam smiled and said, "It's not as embarrassing as you think. Do you think he won't have any remedies?" "What?" Rachel shouted in confusion. "One is that you don't love him anymore, so you left him at the altar of the wedding, and the other is that you are crazy or even have some indescribable disease and suddenly ran away." Adam teased. "It's you. Which one do you choose?" "Definitely crazy and ran away." Joey and Chandler nodded in unison. "No, no, no." Rachel shook her head and denied repeatedly. "No, no, no, he can't do that. He loves me so much." But her tone was first laughing, then hesitant, and finally angry. Because once Adam pointed it out, she knew that no matter whether it was a man or a woman, the most likely choice would be the second one. If it were her, she would do the same. "Adam." Monica glared at Adam, motioning him to stop talking nonsense, and stepped forward to pull Rachel to comfort her. "Not all men are so bad. Let's help you find the engagement ring first." "Yes, yes." Rachel nodded repeatedly as if she had grabbed the last straw. "Barry is not that kind of person." Everyone began to help find it. Joey asked curiously, "When was the last time you wore it?" "Stupid. Of course it was before she lost it." Phoebe said nonsense seriously. "These days, there are not many idiots like this." Chandler looked at Phoebe and mocked her as usual. Finally, Rachel remembered that the last time she saw the diamond ring was when she was helping to make lasagna. Then, while Monica was going crazy, everyone found the engagement diamond ring in the lasagna. Rachel's ex-fiancé Barry is a dentist, and dentists have always been typical representatives of the middle class, not only because of the high income, but also because most of the families who can afford to go to medical school to become doctors are middle class or above. His ancestral engagement diamond ring is naturally not bad. It is really big. "Adam, I want to discuss something with you." Rachel got the engagement diamond ring, but did not return it immediately, but showed Adam a charming smile. "No way." Adam refused without thinking. "What do you mean by no way?" Rachel approached Adam and smiled. "I just want to borrow your car for a while." "No." Adam still shook his head. "Just kidding. The car has always been a man's second wife." Even if Adam didn't cherish it to that extent, he didn't want to lend his newly bought car to the devil. Rachel's driving skills are obvious to all. In the future, when Monica gets her father's Porsche sports car, anyone can borrow it except Rachel. If you don't want to borrow it, then don't borrow it. Who cares? When Rachel saw Adam's impassible look, she knew that she couldn't borrow it. She rolled her eyes at him and went back to her room to dress up. Meeting her ex is very particular. If she had broken up completely, she would definitely come as radiant as possible, so as to let her ex see that she is living a better life without him. But now, she feels a little guilty and still misses him. She can't dress like that. She should wear simple clothes and make up a little haggard to let the other party know that she is also very sad to leave him, in addition to wanting to drive a new car for a ride. Borrowing Adam's car may also be a way to hint to her ex that there are people chasing her at any time. If her ex still has ideas, he should come up to her while she is still thinking about him. As for whether she will accept it after coming up to her, that is another matter. Dong dong. Someone knocked on the door at this time. Monica thought her parents had come, so she hurried forward to open the door. But when she opened it, she saw her brother Ross, who was in a state of daze. She suppressed her complaints and asked as gently as possible, "What's wrong?" "Carol is pregnant." What? Ross's words shocked Monica and made her stutter. "What are you going to do?" Adam smiled playfully. "Carol said that she and Susan wanted me to participate, but if I don't feel comfortable, I can choose not to participate." "Everything is up to me," Ross answered while walking unconsciously. "Everything is up to you." He. Adam sneered. "What's wrong?" Ross looked at Adam in confusion. "If you don't participate, do you need to pay child support?" Adam asked instead of answering. "That's my child, of course." Ross frowned. "Then it's over." Adam spread his hands and said, "Nothing is decided by you. You are just a tool to provide gold." "What?" Everyone was shocked and shouted in unison. "Isn't it obvious?" Adam analyzed. "First, Carol cheated on Ross and separated from him. After more than half a year, their relationship suddenly warmed up. There was a week of so-called wavering choice between Ross and Susan, but in the end, she chose Susan and resolutely divorced. Now that she is pregnant with Ross's child, Susan is not angry about Ross and Carol's brief reunion. On the contrary, she invited Ross to join without any scruples, and considerately said that all decisions are up to Ross. But the result is that whether Ross joins or not, alimony must be paid. Think about it. Apart from the double meaning of gold, has Ross really made a decision? No matter how you look at it, you feel that he is just a tool. Ross was stunned, even more shocked than when his lesbian ex-wife came to him at work and said that she was pregnant with his child. He had thousands of words in his heart, and after a long time, only one sentence popped out. "Holy shit." Chapter 106. Here she comes. 520. OMG, OMG, OMG. Gasps came one after another. If you don't think about it, you won't know. If you think about it, you will be shocked. Everyone was stunned by Adam's analysis. OMG. Monica was the most excited. She was originally moved by the fact that she was about to become an aunt, but now she was most concerned about whether Carol had calculated her brother as Adam analyzed. "Rose, tell me, you used protective measures. This was just an accident, right?" "That time it was an accident. I didn't bring it at all." "If I had brought it, how could there be an accident?" Ross spread his hands and shouted. "Safety measures are not 100% effective." Adam had to remind him. "What?" Ross was confused and said in disbelief, "Then they should print this on the packaging." That's right, his physiology class was taught by the physical education teacher. They printed it. Joey took one out of his pocket and pointed it to Ross. "Don't worry about that," Monica shouted. "The most important thing now is, did Carol ask you to bring it?" "No." Ross tried his best to recall. "She said she has been taking medicine. She was like this when we were together before." "What's wrong?" Seeing Adam's understanding look, he asked again in confusion, without finding any logical loopholes in it. It's no wonder that he only scored 1,250 on the SAT and wanted to pretend to have 1,450. "You've been together for 7 years, married for 3 years, and there's been no movement." Adam helplessly analyzed for him. "Then they divorced and separated, and suddenly warmed up for a week, and got pregnant directly, and now she's a lesbian. Why is she still taking medicine? Are you afraid that Susan will make her pregnant?" "Ha ha ha." Joey laughed out loud, and seeing Ross and Monica staring at him, he quickly covered his mouth and apologized. "I'm sorry." "OMG," Monica shouted, "Carol is such a person." "Why?" Ross covered his head and shouted, "Why did she do this?" "Actually, the reason is not difficult to guess." Adam subconsciously analyzed again. And it was obvious that Ross used a death stare on him, so he could only stop with a smile. Ross, let Adam talk. Compared to Ross, who wanted to be an ostrich, Monica really wanted to find out. "First of all, how are Carol and Susan's work and income?" Adam tried. "Carol is just an ordinary office worker with a normal income," Monica immediately said. "As for Susan, Ross, I'm not sure either. It seems that she is in the fashion industry or something like that," Ross said weakly. "That's it," Adam analyzed. Being in the fashion industry is similar to being in the film and television industry. Just look at Joey. The income is unstable and fluctuates greatly. In addition, Carol's income is average. In fact, they are not suitable for raising children. But with you, Ross, it's different. You are a doctor working in the Museum of Prehistoric Biology. Your income is stable and good. It will be very easy for the three of you to raise a child together, and choosing you saves the expense and trouble of going to the treasury to select and buy, or looking for other men to learn from, which will make Susan worry and unhappy. After all, between you and Susan, Carol chose Susan. You are a doctor from Columbia University. Your intelligence is above normal, and you are in good health. Carol is also very clear about the family history of diseases. Considering all these reasons, you are definitely the most suitable candidate. Everyone was dumbfounded again, but they thought it made sense and had no way to refute it. If they were Carol and Susan, they might do the same. Of course, this is all my speculation. It may not be correct. Adam was a little embarrassed, afraid that the cruel truth would make everyone doubt their lives, so he quickly made amends. It is also possible that everything is really a coincidence. Then congratulations, Ross, you are a father. I will go to Carol to ask clearly now. Ross stood up suddenly and shouted in grief and anger. Don't get excited, don't get excited, it's not all bad. Adam comforted, whether my speculation is right or not, their approach is not very authentic. You can use this as an excuse to get the right to name the child with confidence. Otherwise they will probably name it themselves, and use their surnames. How dare they? Ross pointed at himself with both hands and shouted angrily, that's my child, my child. Then he rushed out. Wait for me. Monica chased after him. Oh no, Joey suddenly exclaimed. What's wrong? Chandler mocked. You were also asked for advice? No, Joey said with a sad face. I have a theater performance tonight. I was going to invite everyone to go, but who knew that the performances were more exciting than the stage play, so I forgot about it. Ross and Monica can't go. I can't go either. Rachel changed into a denim suspender and carried a small bag across her body. She took out a small mirror from her bag and looked at herself. She said something perfunctorily, and her mind was constantly rehearsing the meeting. In the end, only Adam, Chandler, and Phoebe could go to Joey's first stage performance. Nightfall. Small theater. New York is one of the two major cultural and entertainment centers in the United States, along with Hollywood, California. Broadway is located here. There are too many small theaters of various kinds, giving those actors who pursue acting skills the opportunity to face the audience. This time, Joey, who had been in the industry for more than 5 years, waited for his chance. Joey transformed into a big beard and sang and danced on the stage. Adam and the other two endured to the end. When Joey left the stage to remove his makeup, everyone exhaled a breath. At this time, Chandler suddenly pushed him. Adam, look, 10 o'clock. Wow, not bad. Adam looked over, and he felt his eyes brighten after being dizzy by this terrible drama. Chandler, then you go and ask her out. Phoebe also heard it and laughed and cheered. It's like the truth. What I am like, what she is like, Chandler said with inferiority. You should think like this. Good women are afraid of clinging men. All the peerless beauties are always accompanied by a few losers. What's there to be afraid of? Phoebe's encouragement was very effective for Chandler. That's right. Chandler stood up and mustered up the courage to walk towards the woman. But when he really met her, he couldn't say a word. What's up? The beauty smiled. It was obviously not the first time she had encountered such a situation. Hi, Chandler stuttered and couldn't finish his sentence. In the end, he just said one sentence directly. Without waiting for the beauty to reply, he turned around and left. Would you like to date me? Thank you. Good night. This time, the beauty stopped him and agreed. Adam and the others naturally wished him well. But after Chandler dated her and told her some weird things during their date, Adam suddenly realized who this beauty was. A man's gospel, the ultimate dream, a hot woman. Here she comes, here she comes. Chapter 107 A Man's Dream. 2 days later, Central Perk Cafe. I told you Carol isn't that kind of person. Adam thinks too bad of people. Ross, contrary to his previous irritability, laughed. It was a complete accident, right? Monica? Yes. Monica smiled unnaturally. Sorry. Adam and Monica looked at each other, vaguely guessed something, and quickly apologized. I was just talking nonsense before. Then he didn't dare to ask more questions or say more, and quickly changed the subject. So, have you got the naming rights for the children? Yes. Ross smiled happily. The boy's name is Ben Geller, and the girl's name is Julia Geller. What nice names. Listen to the names they are going to give them. Minnie, Helen, Minnie, Mickey Mouse's girlfriend, Helen Geller. If I had 3 more days of light, wow, the same style as celebrities. Really good. Everyone teased. At this time, Chandler pushed the door open and walked in. Seeing that everyone was still discussing and ignoring him, he couldn't help but interrupt. Hey, I've been sitting here for 7 seconds, and no one asked me about my date with Aurora. Oh, how was your date, Chandler? Phoebe imitated Aurora's pronunciation and said funny. Great. Chandler was eager to talk about his excitement last night, and stood up directly. She is a woman I have never met before, and her life is so colorful. Then, Chandler told Aurora's wonderful life, and everyone was really shocked, and they shouted in disbelief again and again. In summary, Aurora traveled around the world, openly had a husband and boyfriend, and could date Chandler, and counted the coins in Chandler's pocket with her feet during the date. As for her relationship with Chandler, she bluntly defined it as Italian comrade because she is really Italian. This is interesting, just like a regiment commander yelling to the 2nd Battalion commander, "2nd Battalion commander, where is your fucking Italian gun?" And the 2nd Battalion commander really became an international friend of Italy, dragging out his country's specialties. Why are you looking at me? Seeing everyone looking at him at the same time, Adam's mouth twitched and he said speechlessly, "Shouldn't you look at Joey?" That's right. Everyone suddenly realized and looked at Joey again. I thought Parisians were the most romantic, but I didn't expect that they are not as good at having fun as you Italians. Phoebe was amazed. Joey pursed his lips proudly and nodded, with a very proud expression. It's a pity that you blew it. Monica comforted. What do you mean by blown? I'm going to date her on Thursday. Chandler laughed. Didn't you hear the whole story? Monica said speechlessly. You didn't hear the whole story? This is too outrageous. How dare you date a woman like this? I thought so at first. Chandler shrugged and explained, but then I thought, I won't suffer any loss at all. I can have fun without any responsibility. This is simply the dream of all men. Joey nodded again. Not at all. Phoebe asked in disbelief. Ross, this is not your dream, is it? Of course not. Ross denied it at the first time, but in Chandler's contemptuous eyes, he weakly changed his words. Okay, this is the dream of all men. So you guys don't mind the girls you date dating someone else? Monica said in disbelief. I can't do it. Joey said seriously. When dating a woman, I must make sure that I have dated more people than she has. Monica and Phoebe looked at him with contempt. Adam, can you help me? Chandler looked at Adam. What do you mean? Adam was stunned. I want to give Aurora a perfect date, so I want to book the Parma Garden restaurant. Chandler smiled flatteringly. But I can't make an appointment. You are a new writer in New York. Maybe you can make an appointment. Can you do me this favor? By the way, you and Carolyn, and Aurora and I are very similar. We can definitely have a 4-person date. What do you think? Seeing everyone's expression of deep approval, Adam smiled bitterly and said, Chandler, I can try. But I advise you not to take it so seriously. Between men and women, whether it is love or Italian comradeship, whoever cares loses. Aurora is an old artilleryman, so you must be the loser. There is no such thing as a win or lose. Chandler smiled indifferently. This is a win-win for us. Adam sighed in his heart, but in fact he had another meaning that he couldn't say out loud. The reason why Chandler fell into it was probably related to Nora. Aurora is charming, travels around the world, has countless lovers, and has a lot of stories. She is so much like Nora. The bizarre past of Chandler's parents has had an all-round impact on him. His father taught him to draw eyebrows, trim eyebrows, curl eyelashes and other gay skills. Subconsciously, others think he is gay when they see him. He hugs Joey so often that even they complain about hugging too much. His mother always makes him have strange dreams, such as the one who called him in the dream before. which exposed his love and hate for his mother Nora. Now he meets a woman who looks so much like Nora. No matter how nice he says, no matter how perfect he is, he will subconsciously give more to Aurora and ask more. Otherwise, he would not have asked Adam to help book a high-end restaurant for the second date, and invited Adam and Carolyn to a 4-person date. You know, in the United States, bringing a date to meet friends is quite similar to meeting parents in the East, and it is not such a casual thing. Chandler obviously didn't realize it, but Adam thought of it. But as a parent in a dual sense, he couldn't remind or refuse. Chandler was obviously upset, in all senses. At this time, no matter how well-intentioned your reminders and rejections were, they were unacceptable to Chandler. Adam could only agree, thinking carefully. If Chandler hadn't been too involved in the end, it wouldn't have been a big deal, and it seemed that they had broken up later. He called the reservation number given by Chandler, and Adam actually got the reservation as soon as he said his name. In fact, it's easy to understand if you think about it. After all, this is the United States, a country where capital is king. Some high-end restaurants and fashion stores will have someone responsible for recording and updating local celebrity information at any time. Places that ordinary people can't enter or can't make reservations at all are open to celebrities at any time, because they are all high-end and high-quality customers. So they naturally have to give them enough face. If you don't make this distinction, how can you improve your status? How can you make more money? Everything is business. P.S. Thanks to Batman Joker, Starfire Candle, and Crazy Dust for the rewards. It will be on the shelves tomorrow, Friday, at 12 o'clock. If you like this book, please support the genuine subscription on Kidian. Your support is the author's motivation to continue writing. Thank you. Chapter 108. A 4-person date. Thursday. Palma Garden Restaurant. Adam, Carolyn, Chandler, and Aurora's 4-person date began. There are some interesting things about dating in the United States. Often, it is not men chatting with men or women chatting with women, but men chatting with each other's girlfriends or each other chatting with men's girlfriends. I think this is also a design based on human nature, such as men and women chatting together is not tiring, and people always pursue novelty. So at this moment, Adam had to politely turn sideways to chat with Aurora. So, Adam, I heard that you are a writer? Aurora's eyes are charming, her tone is seductive, and her whole body exudes a romantic atmosphere from inside to outside. I am still a student, and being a writer is just a part-time job. Adam smiled with a reserved and distant sense. In his eyes, this romantic atmosphere can be described in one sentence: iron chain boats do not get seasick. It is best for ordinary people to stay away from it, and the same should be true for people like Adam. That's amazing too. Aurora held her chin with one hand, her long curly hair half covering her eyes, looking straight at Adam, her admiration almost overflowing, which made Adam subconsciously think of the two important places where Zizunbao became Sun Wukong, Bansi Cave and Chilean Cave. Adam couldn't help but glance at Chandler, and saw that he and Carolyn were chatting properly, and didn't seem to notice the movement here. Chandler is my good friend, Adam reminded. So? Aurora smiled charmingly. So please don't hurt him. Adam frowned. How did I hurt him? Aurora chuckled. Then what were you doing with your feet? Adam asked sarcastically. Are you curious about how many coins I have in my pocket? Can't I? Aurora didn't notice Adam's coldness at all. She thought Adam was the same as the men she had met before. She was just not used to him at first. So she continued to stretch out her long legs towards Adam under the table with interest, and said ambiguously, I believe you must have a whole roll of coins in your pocket. Enough. Adam stopped her again and warned in a low voice, Chandler is right in front of you, please be respectful. Are you worried that he will be angry? Aurora became more and more interested in Adam. He was a young and handsome writer and a good friend of Chandler, which made her unable to restrain herself. Moreover, she never had the habit of restraining herself. Don't worry, Chandler won't be angry. You should have heard that I have a husband and a boyfriend, and Chandler has no objection to this. At this point, her eyes began to shine, and I heard him say that your view on love is the same as mine, and you and Caroline are the same, right? Maybe we can stop. Adam couldn't bear it anymore. If he continued, he would be warned by the electric dance. He simply stood up and left the table, using the excuse of going to the bathroom, and winked at Chandler. Chandler followed with a smile. "What's wrong?" "Here's the thing," Adam carefully said the matter euphemistically. "I'm going to leave with Carolyn first. You guys continue?" Chandler opened his mouth and couldn't close it for a long time. Aurora's husband Rick and boyfriend Ethan, who were mentioned before, were not here. He just had an idea, so he quickly accepted it. Now he suddenly found that with such a charming and handsome guy, Aurora actually wanted to bring his good friend along. This shock was too great. "Are you okay?" Adam saw that Chandler was still dumbfounded, and couldn't help but push him. "Nothing. What could possibly happen?" Chandler forced a smile and said self-deprecatingly, "Actually, group sex is nothing. We both don't suffer any loss." "Stop." Adam frowned and said, "I can't accept this kind of sports." "Chandler, I remember telling you that although I advocate love without love, I have a rule for friends. I will never touch my friend's girlfriend or even ex-girlfriend." "I know. I was just joking." Chandler saw Adam's serious tone and put away his frivolous and joking attitude. "This is also for our friendship." Adam patted Chandler's shoulder. "Can you imagine that when you are intimate with the other person, countless miniature friends emerge from her body and say to you, 'Hey, I was here before you'?" Chandler shuddered uncomfortably when he heard it, and shouted, Okay, I really understand. Don't say it again." "Haha." Adam smiled and said, "I won't go over. Please help me call Carolyn over." After Chandler left, Carolyn came over soon. When Adam told her the story, Caroline was also amazed. "Want one?" Caroline took out a pack of ladies' cigarettes from her pocket. Seeing Adam waving his hand to refuse, she skillfully picked up a cigarette with her right hand, lit it, and took a deep puff. "Smoking is not good," Adam advised. "Are you still worried about work?" Carolyn nodded and shook her head, took another deep puff, slowly exhaled a puff of smoke, and spread between the two of them, and then said meaningfully, "Adam, do you believe in God?" "No, I believe in science and believe in the power of technology." Adam smiled. "I don't believe it either." Carolyn nodded. "But in this era, there are still many people who are superstitious about the mysterious power of God or even the devil, and they will do a lot of crazy things for this, and even hurt others. Do you think these people are stupid, bad and hopeless?" "What happened? Why are you talking about this suddenly?" Adam instinctively sensed that something was wrong and looked at Carolyn, who was surrounded by smoke. "Nothing." Caroline smoked a cigarette, blew out smoke rings again, and shook her head and said, "I just heard some things recently, and I have some feelings. I often think that if these people really believe in God and have the time and energy to do those crazy things, they might as well take out all the money to truly practice the truth, goodness and beauty that God advises the world. There will be fewer things like Mr. Tucker." "You are still thinking about Mr. Tucker?" Adam suddenly realized and unconsciously breathed a sigh of relief and put his mind at ease. "Just do your best. Don't be too harsh on yourself." "Yes, you are right." Caroline suddenly smiled. "Just do your best." Suddenly, there was a cry of surprise from the restaurant. "It's Chandler." Adam's hearing is far better than that of ordinary people. He heard that the voice was from Chandler. His face suddenly changed and he ran over there. Caroline also put out her cigarette and followed closely behind. "Help, call an ambulance," Chandler shouted. Adam pushed aside the crowd and saw a shocking scene. Aurora, the charming and seductive Italian beauty, was kneeling on the ground with a shiny fork stuck in her neck. P.S. The book will be on the shelves at 12 o'clock tomorrow, Friday. After it is on the shelves, I will try to update 4 times a day for a period of time. If the result is good, I will devote all my spare time to maintain the 4 updates. Book friends who like this book, please support the genuine subscription on Kidian. Your support is the author's motivation to continue. Thank you. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 109. If you are wrong, you must admit it and kneel down to apologize. Palma Garden Restaurant. Adam. Chandler couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief when he saw Adam coming. Don't touch it. Adam stopped Aurora from reaching out to touch it, and stepped forward to help her up. Touching or pulling it out now may cause greater tissue damage. Keep it like this for now, take my car, and we'll talk about it when we get to the hospital. After saying that, he saw that Chandler's zipper had opened at some point, and Adam's mouth twitched. He had already guessed a little in his mind. Chandler, are you okay? Me? Chandler recovered from his panic, and was reminded of this, and his body also felt a dull pain. He couldn't help but hunched his body, with a look of pain on his face. I'm sorry. Aurora, with a fork stuck in the right side of her neck, looked apologetic and pitying. Carolyn, hold her. Adam was startled and went forward to check on Chandler. He saw him holding his hips with both hands, with a look of pain on his face. He couldn't even stand steadily. He didn't have time to be pretentious. He just picked him up like a princess and walked quickly out of the restaurant. Aurora was not in any trouble. She was supported by Carolyn and followed closely. After getting in the car, Carolyn drove and stepped on the accelerator to the nearest New York University Medical Center. On the road, what happened? Adam supported Chandler and asked. It's all my fault. Aurora apologized. No. Chandler, who was bent like a shrimp, endured the pain and said, it's my fault. It's my fault. No, it's my fault. Seeing that the two of them were having a sour smell of romance, Adam couldn't help but interrupt and said, okay, you are all wrong. Tell me what happened quickly. You will have to tell me when you get to the hospital, but now you should sort it out to save time. Then, as Chandler and Aurora talked back and forth, he restored the complete story in his mind. It turned out that Adam told Chandler about Aurora's desire for group sex. Chandler said self-deprecatingly that he didn't care anyway, but his heart still hurt. Back to the table, after Caroline left, he rejected Aurora again on Adam's behalf with a sarcastic tone. Aurora is an old driver who travels around the world. She knows the truth that if you are wrong, you must admit it and kneel down to apologize. Under Chandler's incredible gaze, the tableware accidentally fell. Chandler looked around, worried that others might look at him. But he didn't immediately stop Aurora from picking up the dishes, or simply stood up and left. Compared to Aurora's wonderful experiences that she could talk about all night without repeating them, the most exciting one in his first half of life was that he missed the subway platform and went around Brooklyn and came back alive. Now, his life is about to be stained with a heavy stroke of ink, and he really doesn't have enough willpower to stand up. Originally, everything was normal. He gasped and looked around. His heart was full of emotion, and he completely forgave Aurora. But who knew that Aurora suddenly had a palpitation and said something insincere? The result of not speaking in accordance with his heart was that Chandler suffered. In severe pain, he grabbed the fork on the table and stabbed it down, hitting Aurora's neck. Then, looking at the bright fork on Aurora's neck, Chandler was frightened, forgot his pain for a while, and shouted for help. You are really amazing. Adam was speechless. Hee hee. Aurora suddenly laughed. Hee hee. Ouch. Chandler also laughed, and cried out in pain when he pulled the wound. You are so optimistic. Adam sighed. If it were him, he would have been too psychologically traumatized by this time. So how could he still laugh despite the pain? What's this? Aurora laughed. When Rick and I crossed the Israeli position, bullets hit the car, but we got through it safely in the end. This is our wonderful adventure. Chandler couldn't help but say. Of course. Aurora was too familiar with Chandler's psychology at the moment, and gave a positive answer without hesitation, just like she had given other men before. Adam's mouth twitched, and he really wanted to throw Chandler down. It was too embarrassing. Arrived at the hospital, in the emergency department, this eye-catching look immediately attracted the attention of the interns rotating there, and they rushed up and surrounded him. Finally, after being stopped by the resident doctor and asking about the situation, 2 interns were assigned to take Chandler and Aurora to the ward. The fork on Aurora's neck looked intimidating, and it was easily pulled out. Chandler was in more trouble. His wound was private, and he was awkwardly examined during a round of rejection and explanation. Fortunately, it was not convenient to move after the treatment, so he was temporarily arranged to be hospitalized. Madam, you need to do an electrocardiogram, cardiac ultrasound, and myocardial enzyme test. The resident doctor came over, checked the wound that the intern had treated, scanned the case, and reminded. Why? Aurora was stunned. You said that your heart was trembling and your mouth was out of control. The resident doctor explained. In this case, it is best to do a heart examination or even a full-body examination first to ensure the health of the body. Is she okay? Chandler, who was lying on the bed, asked with concern. Whether there is a problem, we need to check it out before we know, the resident doctor said in a serious manner. Aurora had no choice but to do the examination according to the procedure, and then saw the resident doctor leading a doctor in his 50s, short in stature, with a cold face. This is Dr. Leonard Green. He is the attending physician of our cardiothoracic surgery department and is responsible for your case. Hello, Dr. Green. Is there something wrong with my heart? Aurora became nervous. Dr. Leonard Green motioned one of the interns to answer. This is the characteristic of a teaching hospital, which is to train interns to become real doctors. The intern held an electrocardiogram and color ultrasound and said a lot of professional terms, which made Aurora look confused. Please speak English, okay? Chandler shouted. Her heart is dying. Adam had read a lot of medical books, so he understood and helped explain. Not bad. Dr. Leonard Green looked at Adam in surprise, nodded grimly and said, the patient's heart is dying and needs a heart transplant, but you need to register first and wait for the matching queue at the organ transplant center. You can only do the surgery when a suitable heart appears. No, it's impossible. How can this be? Chandler shouted in disbelief. My heart is broken. I'm going to die? Aurora murmured in a daze. Adam watched the scene with a sigh. Thunderbolts from the blue. Separations of life and death are the norm in hospitals. He has seen many of them when he was a volunteer in the hospital, but this is the first time he has seen them so close. It was not for Aurora, but Chandler's shock and pain made him, as a friend, feel more deeply. P.S. Thanks to Ishabuajian, Apple.py, Liverpool. Hello, book friend 201705202240288802, Zhang Jiamao. Book friend 201912311226305333 for their rewards. Chapter 110 Upgrading and Cheating. 520. OMG. Poor Chandler New Medical Center, Cardiothoracic Surgery. After arranging Chandler and Aurora in the hospital and sending Carolyn back, Adam returned to the apartment and told everyone what had happened, which naturally caused a burst of exclamations. Huh? Adam looked at Rachel, whose tone and focus were obviously wrong, thinking of her last name. His heart moved. Rachel, your father is not Dr. Leonard Green, right? Yes. Rachel covered her mouth and nodded. Great. Rachel, you can go to your father and ask him to pay more attention. Although Monica looked down on Aurora, she felt sorry for Chandler just like Adam. Whether there is an acquaintance to take care of you or not, no matter ancient or modern, Chinese or foreign, or in all walks of life, it is a completely different experience. Okay. Rachel nodded vigorously and agreed, but there was some panic in her eyes. It has been more than 2 months since she ran away from her marriage, and she still doesn't know how to face her father. Although she always acted like a spoiled child and was her father's favorite eldest daughter, she would be absolutely silent once her father got angry. Her father was a surgeon who supported a family by himself and raised a group of extravagant spendthrift women. He always had a bad temper and must still be angry about her running away from marriage. Otherwise he wouldn't have come to see her for 2 months. But facing such a matter of life and death, she couldn't say no, so she could only force herself to agree. Damn. When everyone expressed their concern, Joey, who was always slow to react, sighed again at an inappropriate time. Aurora and Chandler are really good at playing. Yeah. Ross also looked yearning. Apart from Adam, where have they seen this? Are you kidding me? Monica shouted speechlessly. You want to become Chandler? Have you asked your brother? The beauty in Ross and Joey's minds was completely destroyed by Monica's straightforward and rude words, and they smiled awkwardly. Let's go see Chandler together tomorrow, shall we? Phoebe suggested. Of course. Together. Ross and Joey quickly agreed. Rachel, don't worry, when the time comes, you can act like a spoiled child and your father won't be mad at you. Adam noticed that Rachel's expression was not right, and he understood and comforted her. Well, After learning that her father was Dr. Leonard Green, he felt that he should be nicer to Rachel in the future. This is the first doctor's family member in his circle of friends, and he is also the attending physician of a large hospital and a large department such as the New York University Medical Center and the Cardiothoracic Surgery Department. The weight is very important and deserves Adam's extra attention. In the United States, how do doctors upgrade? First of all, it is natural to get a bachelor's degree and 4 years of college. Although the major is not limited, it is best to be close to medicine. After passing the exam and applying, enter the medical school to study for 4 years. The first 2 years are theoretical, and the last 2 years are as medical interns in various departments of teaching hospitals. They are familiar with the overall operation of the hospital and have a holistic understanding of the patient's pathology. After graduation, pass the professional qualification exam, get a doctorate in medicine, and then apply to go to the hospital for residency training. The first year is an intern, following the senior residents to do odd jobs, trying every means to get into the operating room, wanting to get in touch with more and more complex operations, constantly practicing, and truly moving from theory to practice. When the internship is about to end, you have to start choosing a department based on your interests and expertise. American hospitals are generally divided into several major categories, such as surgery, internal medicine, gynecology, and pediatrics. Each major department has many sub-departments. Taking the surgeon Adam wants to be as an example, there are dozens of categories, such as cardiothoracic surgery, neurosurgery, plastic surgery, dermatology, pediatric surgery, trauma surgery, orthopedics, and ophthalmology. Among them, cardiothoracic surgery is generally the goal challenged by the best and most ambitious doctors. It is such a shocking thing to cut open someone's chest, hold the other person's heart, let it beat in your palm according to your rhythm, or directly change the heart and retransplant a new heart. In the past, that was the power of the gods. In comparison, although neurosurgery is also called brain surgery, it seems to be more awesome, but the brain is too complicated, and the existing technology can't achieve the level of heart replacement. Many times, we have to guess, or simply feel powerless and pray for God's blessing. Plastic surgery has higher income, but it is more inclined to repair appearance, not to save lives. Therefore, Adam, who has paid special attention to it, has made a choice early on. In the future, he will choose cardiothoracic surgery as his specialty, and the probability of saving a life will be the greatest. As for why not learn from a mediocre doctor to be an emergency doctor? Stop all kinds of patients in the emergency room and solve them directly by yourself, leaving the specialists staring blankly. Because the national conditions are different, there are very few people who go to the emergency room in the United States because the cost is very high. General symptoms are handled by their own community family doctors, and severe cases are directly transferred to their own specialist departments in the hospital. It is very dangerous to stop them in the emergency room and solve them by yourself in the United States, which pays great attention to the correct procedures and everything goes through the process. The medical disputes in the East cannot be compared with those in the United States. According to statistics, on average, every doctor in the United States is sued once a year. If you don't follow the standard procedures, even if you save the patient's life, once you are prosecuted afterwards, you will be fined a huge amount of money, lose your medical license, and in the worst case, you will go to jail. Adam has to rely on being a doctor to perform surgery to prolong his life stably and safely, so he naturally dare not bet on his luck as a protagonist. To be safe, he still has to adapt to the local customs. He would rather not cure the patient than pretend. The length of residency training is determined according to the selected department. Internal medicine is very short, with internship and hospitalization for 3 years, while surgery is much longer. After all, it requires more hands-on practice, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years or even 7 years. Whether it is an intern or a resident, they all learn from the attending physician. Even if they are the main surgeon, the final check must be checked and responsible by the attending physician. Strictly speaking, they are not real doctors. After completing the training, pass the professional examination again and become an attending physician. Only then will you be able to practice medicine independently. Even if you don't work in the hospital, you can open your own clinic. The director or even the dean at the next higher level only leads the attending physicians at the administrative level, but in terms of medical practice, he is still the attending physician. Therefore, Rachel's father, Dr. Leonard Green, as the attending physician of the cardiothoracic surgery department of a large hospital, is definitely worth Adam's efforts to build a relationship with him. In this system similar to upgrading and fighting monsters, having a master in the selected specialty field to give careful advice and escort is not much worse than ordinary cheating. These thoughts flashed through Adam's mind, and Adam looked at Rachel with an increasingly amiable expression. Chapter 111 Sweet Mouth. The next day, New York University Medical Center. "Hi, Chandler, are you okay?" Chandler. Everyone gathered in the ward. They had heard Adam say that Chandler was fine, and seen that Chandler looked fine. How could they resist teasing him? "Stop." Chandler wanted to get under the quilt in shame, but when he saw Joey start to lift the quilt and look inside, he quickly pressed the quilt to stop him and said, "What are you doing? What's wrong?" Joey spread his hands innocently and said, "You are brothers, and we are brothers, so he and I are brothers, and it's normal for me to care about him." Everyone felt a chill, and couldn't stand Joey's fierce words. "Well done, Ross." And Joey stood together, patted Chandler on the shoulder, secretly raised a pair of thumbs up, and looked envious and excited. "Adam, how is Aurora?" Chandler was reminded of another person. "More detailed examinations are already being arranged," Adam explained. "As for the surgery, it still depends on the organ transplant center." By the way, Aurora's attending doctor, Dr. Leonard Green, is Rachel's father. Rachel's father? Chandler looked at Rachel in surprise. "I'll help ask," Rachel said without much confidence. "Adam, can you take me to see her?" Chandler asked. "She is far away in a foreign country, and no one comes to visit her. I'm really worried." Their wards are not together. Chandler's injuries are special. It's hard to move. He can't even sit in a wheelchair. The nurses are very busy and are too lazy to help. Until now, he has not had the opportunity to visit her. "Of course." Adam smiled strangely, "but she is not without visitors. You will know when you go to see her later." Chandler looked puzzled. He remembered that Aurora's husband and boyfriend were in Italy. "I can help you," Joey volunteered. "Can you always hold me like a princess?" Chandler looked skeptical. "No problem." Joey's eyes widened confidently. "You have to believe in Joey Tribbiani. Just look at how much I can eat and you'll know how strong I am." "Okay." Chandler tilted his head and thought about it. In his impression, Joey was indeed eating all the time, so he shrugged. "Forget it. Let me do it." Adam had to interrupt and remind him, it's one thing to hold him up, and it's another to keep the same movement and try not to break the wound. "Do you look down on Joey Tribbiani?" Joey raised his finger excitedly. "Let's compete." Adam reached out and held Joey's hand, and exerted a little force. "Okay, I understand. It's better for you to hold him." After a grin, Joey decisively agreed that what Adam said made sense, but his tone was quite resentful, which made Adam's mouth twitch. What if he wanted to hold Chandler? Adam picked up Chandler steadily, and everyone walked towards Aurora's ward. "Why are there so many people?" As soon as he approached, he saw a group of men queuing in and out, holding flowers and gifts in their hands, including doctors and nurses in white coats. "OMG tilde." Chandler made a classic exclamation of his ex-girlfriend Janice. If he still doesn't understand why Adam just laughed so strangely, then he is a fool. He has been worried about Aurora, but who would have thought that although her husband and boyfriend are far away in Italy, she really has no shortage of visitors. Are these all Aurora's old lovers? Monica and others were amazed, with contempt and envy. None of these men in the queue are bad in appearance and figure, not to mention that there is a handsome doctor in a white coat. "Yes and no," Adam explained with a smile. "As far as I know, the nurse and doctor are the new lovers she just met. She has a heart disease, and she is still in the mood to find a new lover." Monica and others were stunned. "This is very Aurora, isn't it?" Adam commented. "She can play crossfire with her husband. How can she be defeated by a heart attack? Life is endless. Romance is endless." Chandler accidentally became the front wave, and was beaten to death on the beach by the endless waves behind. "Do you want to go in?" Adam asked with a smile. "No, Who knows when it will be my turn? Chandler looked ugly and said sourly, "It's better this way." Adam comforted, "It will save you from being embarrassed when you meet her husband and boyfriend." "Yes," Monica agreed. "After all, she has a status and is also a man. How can she not care at all?" Chandler was hospitalized for 3 days and was quickly discharged. Because Aurora's husband and boyfriend came to comfort him on behalf of Aurora, it seemed that they didn't care about their relationship or why Chandler was hospitalized. But Chandler couldn't stand the embarrassment and discomfort. "Everyone. My dad will treat all of us to dinner tonight. Thank you for taking care of me," Rachel announced excitedly. Just as Adam said, as the most beloved eldest daughter in the family, Rachel acted like a spoiled child and took her ex-fiancé and the chief bridesmaid Minty on vacation. She seriously suspected that they had an affair before, so she had to run away from the marriage. Leonard Green naturally chose to forgive her. "Dentists are not real doctors. Only losers who can't be surgeons will become dentists." At the dinner party that night, Leonard drank pure whiskey and said sweetly, "When they are out and about and encounter an emergency, they don't even dare to answer when the radio calls for a doctor. Do they go to see the patient? How can such losers be worthy of my baby?" Monica and others looked at each other and secretly smacked their lips. "Dr. Green, that's a good idea." Adam agreed with a smile. "I think surgeons are the best among doctors, and among surgeons, cardiothoracic surgeons are the best and most capable." Leonard looked at Adam with admiration. "Adam, right? I remember you can understand medical terminology. Are you in medical school?" "I plan to." Adam smiled. "My biggest dream since I was a child is to be a surgeon who saves lives and heals the wounded." "After I grew up and learned some medical knowledge, I set my goal to be a cardiothoracic surgeon. Now I am studying biology at Columbia University, and I am preparing to take the Harvard Medical School entrance exam after graduation." Broad-minded and clear-minded, Leonard raised his glass and said, "In you, I see the shadow of my youth." Nowadays, there are only some confused, decadent and ignorant guys. It's hard to see young people as good as you. Come on, cheers. Bang. Adam clinked glasses with him with a smile and drank it all in one gulp. Beside him, everyone looked at him with strange expressions, and Ross was about to turn into a lemon. Chapter 112 Guidance and Sense of Urgency. Inside the restaurant. "Ha, heck, ha." Hearing Leonard Green's boastful words, Ross couldn't help but use his unique humming laughter to remind him, "I am also a doctor." "Yes, yes, yes. You work in that library." Leonard glanced at him and said perfunctorily, "Hello?" Ross was angry and raised his voice, "My work is a prehistoric biological museum, not a library." "Is there a difference?" Leonard said contemptuously. "Of course there is a difference." Ross said excitedly, "Just like you said that dentists are not real doctors, how can a library be compared with a prehistoric biological museum?" "You are a doctor?" Leonard began to look Ross in the eye. "Dentists make at least $100,000 a year. How much do you make a year?" Ross paused for a moment. He only made $60,000 or $70,000 a year, which was already very good, but he was not as good as a dentist, let alone Leonard, a senior attending physician in a large department of a large hospital. "We are talking about my being a doctor." "What does this have to do with how much money I make?" "You say you are a doctor, but you don't make as much money as a dentist," Leonard said venomously. "Dentists are not real doctors, so for you, what is the difference between a library and a prehistoric museum?" If it were the East, this statement could still be refuted, but in the United States, where money is the most important thing and making money is a virtue, this statement is completely correct. This is also the reason why Americans rarely ask about other people's income. Even old friends like the 6 old friends don't know each other's financial situation. Don't ask. Asking is privacy. There is no distinction between high and low jobs. The most important thing is to be interested in yourself and to be valuable to society. Seeing that Ross's eyes were about to spit fire, Adam quickly tried to smooth things over. Ross likes dinosaurs, because their work led to the success of Jurassic Park, just like Dr. Green likes to save people, and countless patients have been saved. "Just call me Leonard." Leonard Green looked at Adam with a special eye, and didn't bother to pay attention to the impulsive and irritable Ross. He smiled and asked Adam to change his name. In the United States, Friendship is considered the most ideal relationship. Fathers and sons, mothers and daughters, and other relatives should be friends. Husbands and wives should also be friends. All people should develop in the direction of friendship, because it seems to represent the equality of personality. As friends, they should naturally call each other by name. Okay, Leonard. Adam was secretly happy, and the smile on his face became brighter. You also know that I am going to be a cardiothoracic surgeon. Can you tell me about your growth experience and introduce your success experience? Flatterer. Everyone rolled their eyes. Adam smiled unchanged, not caring at all. Just kidding. What you learn from books is shallow, and you must practice it to know it. No matter how many books you read, your understanding of the profession and industry of doctors is just seeing flowers in the fog and touching an elephant in the dark. In the case of temporarily not being able to become a doctor, asking a senior attending physician to tell the inside story of the industry will definitely be of great benefit to the future and can save a lot of detours. The time saved is the greatest guarantee for Adam's life. In this case, it's not about licking someone's ass, just saying something nice and flattering. What's the big deal? Besides, considering Rachel's friend, Leonard is also an elder, so this can only be regarded as a courtesy flattery. Do you have to learn from Ross, who is dating someone's daughter, and will turn his face and leave when he is slightly uncomfortable after being ridiculed? That's not freedom, but selfishness. Growing experience. Leonard took a sip of pure whiskey, and said with some nostalgia in his eyes, I was like you. I wanted to be a surgeon since I was a child. After graduating from college, I was admitted to Columbia University Medical School. In my junior and senior years, I started to intern at New York University Medical Center as a medical intern. After graduating from medical school, I was promoted from intern to resident to attending physician at New York University Medical Center. In a blink of an eye, more than 20 years have passed. My father is the best of their batch, Rachel said proudly. Obviously, Leonard had told her a lot of stories about his youth. Rachel deeply admired her father, this great man who supported a family by himself, so she was particularly interested in doctors. If her ex-fiancé was not a dentist, she would feel weak every time she saw the handsome doctor in the original time and space. I can imagine. Adam agreed with a smile. Leonard, you must have worked very hard at that time. Of course, Leonard said proudly. Everyone admits that I am the hardest working and best in our group of interns. Hard work pays off. This is the American dream. Joey pursed his lips and nodded, very moved, because he is now working hard to realize his American dream. He wants to be a great actor, like Al Pacino. Even if he can achieve 1/10 of Al Pacino's excellence. Shit. Leonard suddenly cursed. Hard work does pay off, but most of the time, it is not enough for you to work hard enough to realize your dream. What do you mean? Adam was shocked. This was the bloody truth he was eager to know. The route he had been planning was to grow into a top surgeon through his own efforts, and to increase his lifespan rapidly and stably, safely, and he had always believed in this. But was there any trap in the middle? I am the best and hardest working one among our group, but do you know who is the most successful now? Leonard sneered. It's definitely not you. Ross laughed and sneered. He was still unhappy about what happened just now, and he couldn't help but want to stab Ross whenever he had the chance. Ross. Rachel looked at Ross with dissatisfaction. Ops. Ross shrank back and smiled at Rachel, put his finger to his mouth, and made a zippering motion. He had been secretly in love with Rachel since high school. Now, he was divorced, and when he cried that he didn't want to get divorced and just wanted to get married, Rachel ran away from her wedding with someone else in a wedding dress and came to him. Although he had never mustered up the courage to pursue her, in his heart, Rachel was his true love. How dare he offend his soulmate? At least he would never dared to do that before he got her. You are the best and the most hard-working, but you are not the one with the best achievements. Adam glanced at Ross and brought the topic back. Did someone get in through the back door? At this point, his face looked a little bad. Fair competition. He had a system that could continuously improve his attributes, and he thought he was not afraid of anyone, but if even the most technically conscious doctor was not fair, then he would be in trouble. Chapter 113 The Bloody Truth. In the restaurant. Back door? Leonard recalled the past, a little emotional, and slapped the table directly. Yes, this analogy is good. They went through the back door. They? Adam asked. There were dozens of us interning together at that time. Leonard fell into memories. I am recognized as the most skilled, but more than 20 years have passed, and I am only an attending physician, while 3 people in that batch have become department heads early. Why? Am I not as good as them? Yes and no, huh? Ross heard this and couldn't help but interrupt. What do you mean by yes and no? If yes, then wouldn't it be normal for them to be department heads? Haha. What do you know? Leonard looked at him with disdain. The most important thing for a doctor's skills is not talent and hard work, but opportunity. Are you saying that they took the opportunity that originally belonged to you by going through the back door? Adam suddenly realized, his face a little heavy. That's it. Leonard took a sip of pure whiskey and sneered. When I was in medical school, I worked the hardest and had the most talent. I had the best skills among the interns, and I was the most prepared every time I made rounds. So I should get more opportunities to enter the operating room, right? Yes, Adam nodded. When interns follow their superiors to learn, the superiors should reward the interns with opportunities to follow and participate in the operation based on their performance. The random questions during the rounds are big battlefields for interns to compete for their performance. That was true at the beginning. Leonard sneered. I was the first one to enter the operating room and participated in the operation perfectly, but later on, the opportunities became fewer and fewer. It's not that I didn't work hard enough or was not good enough, but among our group, 2 women and 1 man stood out. One of them slept with the attending physician of cardiothoracic surgery, 1 slept with the attending physician of neurosurgery, and 1 slept with the attending physician of pediatric surgery. At first they were still hiding it, but later they followed their boyfriends to the operating room for surgery. Most of the surgical opportunities that should have been sought after were divided up by them. OMG, Monica and others exclaimed. Adam frowned and asked, isn't this bribery? Isn't it against the rules? It is indeed sexual bribery, and it is indeed against the rules. Leonard sneered, but no one will investigate, and no one dares to report it, because these attending doctors are important assets of the hospital, and their hands can create a lot of wealth for the hospital. And what are the interns who haven't grown up yet? They are just social animals that can be abandoned at any time. Who will stand up for them? Even if you report it, they will have something to say, saying that you are not as good as them, and giving more opportunities to excellent people is not the rule. No matter how talented and hard-working you are just a newcomer after all. The attending doctor wants to deal with you, and directly asks you a difficult case. If you can't answer it, it means your level is not good enough. They are boyfriend and girlfriend, and they have slept together. They know the answer in advance and give a beautiful answer. What can you do? The hospital will definitely help suppress the report, but it will also stand on the side of the attending doctor openly or secretly, and your future is definitely ruined. No one is willing to take a newcomer like you who doesn't follow the rules. OMG, how could this happen? The doctor is like this too? Monica and the others were shocked and couldn't believe it when they heard it. Come on, Ross couldn't help but retort. Even if this is true, if you are really good, I don't believe you can't make it. You can make it, Leonard said disdainfully, but it takes more time. The positions of doctors in large hospitals, not to mention department heads, are all limited. If you delay one step, by the time you spend time accumulating skills, the good positions have already been taken. The attraction of large hospitals and large departments to patients is not comparable to that of small hospitals, and the department heads who occupy key positions can calmly arrange the best, newest and easiest surgeries for themselves. Once successful, they will be more famous and have a more stable position. Even if you are talented and work harder, and have spent more time accumulating and practicing your skills, the profession of doctor is a lifelong learning. You can't get in touch with refreshing surgeries and practicing new technologies. A large number of surgeries are selected by department heads first, and you will never surpass them. You can only wait for them to retire due to an accident before you can get promoted. Otherwise you can only leave the big hospital and try your luck in some small hospitals. Later, those 3 people became department heads of those 3 departments. Adam's face looked very ugly. Cardiothoracic surgery, neurosurgery, and pediatric surgery are all part of the surgery department. The three of them also competed for it. Richard became the final winner and is now the chief of surgery at the medical center. Leonard sneered. The other two failed in the competition and chose to leave and went to other hospitals. With the skills and fame accumulated in the medical center, they later became chiefs of surgery. Hey, Adam, you don't have to worry at all. Joey laughed funny. With your capital, you can follow the successful example, find a beautiful boss, and sleep with her all the way up. Most of the doctors in the pediatric surgery department are beautiful doctors, right? Isn't it said that there are 2 women and 1 man? The man must have slept with the attending physician of the pediatric surgery department, right? Haha. Leonard laughed. There are indeed many female doctors in pediatric surgery, but the one who was slept with in my class was a male doctor, and Glenn was a straight man. Male doctor? Joey was stunned. Then his fingers trembled, his eyes widened, and he exclaimed, "You mean a male doctor? OMG, this sacrifice is too great." "You're working so hard to get promoted?" Poor Adam. Monica and the others exclaimed again. This series of revelations almost shattered their worldviews, and then they sympathized with Adam, who chose to take this path. "Of course, this is not inevitable." Leonard patted Adam on the shoulder and sighed. "Adam, you can only hope that there are no colleagues in your class who work so hard, otherwise you can really consider his suggestion." At this point, he pointed at Joey. "Am I right?" Recognized. Joey curled his lips and nodded with a smug look. "Then I would rather be like you, Leonard, relying on my own talent and hard work to break through." Adam suppressed the MMP in his heart and smiled. "Even if I can't become the director of the department in the future, it's enough to be a senior attending physician like you, curing diseases and saving lives." Everyone rolled their eyes again. This flattery is too naked. Adam still ignored them. "Just kidding. The tuition fees of medical schools are so expensive. Most of the medical students have to take out huge loans, and fighting hard to get ahead is just basic." He dare not pin his hopes on their moral integrity. As for selling beauty, he is not that kind of person, and God knows who he will meet by then. He has better choices, doesn't he? P.S. Thanks to NN 123,456 for the rewards. Chapter 114. Rich Adam. Inside the restaurant. Haha. Leonard was very pleased with Adam's flattery. "Don't think so. Since you chose to be a surgeon, you have to be the best one. Do you think I didn't want to take the back door?" Leonard took another sip of pure whiskey and said self-deprecatingly, "I wanted to, but I was married to Rachel's mother at that time, so there was nothing I could do." "Dad tilde," Rachel yelled in a scolding tone. "What's wrong?" Leonard shrugged and said, "I'm telling the truth, and I don't regret choosing your mother, except that she always talks about cigars, whiskey and sailboats, and spends $1,400 just to buy a flower pot. That's Mom's hobby." Rachel learned to spend lavishly from her mother, so she naturally stood on her mother's side and explained, "She only has this hobby, and you don't support her? She raised 3 children for you, although only one is cute and sensible, but they are all your children." "Okay." Leonard smiled dotingly, "You make sense. Jill is indeed cute and sensible." "Dad," Rachel yelled angrily. "Just kidding." Leonard laughed and said, "The cute and sensible one is naturally my Rachel. Jill is too naughty." Rachel smiled with satisfaction. "Leonard, do you like sailing?" Adam continued to work hard and prepared to deepen his friendship with Leonard. In the bloody truth told by Leonard, Adam extracted the essence of it. Sleeping clothes and the like are just appearances. The most hardcore is still the connection. Just like the success chicken soup of nothing and ordinary families, they are indeed talented, but what really makes them stand out is not the connection at the beginning. Adam understood it all, and the reason why he was still shocked was that doctors treat diseases and save lives, and technology is obviously the most important, but who would have thought that the technology of saving lives is not valued by talent and hard work, but the opportunities brought by connections. However, after being pointed out by Leonard, Adam thought about it carefully and felt that it was understandable. Western medicine in the United States is different from traditional Chinese medicine in the East. Whether it is medicine or doctors, they are all things on the assembly line. The most important thing is large-scale production, similar quality, and can be interchanged at any time. Isn't the purpose of standardized medical procedures? No one who can finish medical school and get a doctorate in medicine has poor qualifications. During the internship, they learn standardized surgical procedures. Whoever has the opportunity to practice more can improve his skills faster. As for using talent to innovate surgery, that is something that only attending physicians and above should consider. Adam's original plan was to take every step in the most down-to-earth way. Naturally, he would take the best Harvard Medical School when applying for medical school, but now his mind has changed a little. Harvard Medical School has indeed been ranked first in the world for many years and is a holy place for medical students, but the competition will be unprecedentedly fierce. Adam was not worried before, but now he has to consider the risks. In addition to those civilian children who dare to give everything to get ahead, there are definitely many second-generation and third-generation doctors. If these second-generation and third-generation doctors who already have connections dare to give everything, it would be terrible. Once you lose the competition with these unfair competitors, you will definitely waste a lot of time if you make a mistake, and time is exactly what Adam can't afford to waste. Now there is a good opportunity in front of Adam. Rachel is Adam's friend, Leonard is Rachel's father, and he seems to admire Adam. He is also a senior attending physician in the Department of Cardiothoracic Surgery at the New York University Medical Center. He graduated from Columbia University Medical School. His resources in the New York medical community are not as good as those of department heads, but they are definitely very considerable. Once Adam has established a close enough relationship with Leonard, he will not have to lose at the starting line, and can stand firmly in the first echelon. By then, with his ability and hard work, he will definitely become a top surgeon at the fastest speed, holding the heart of others. It is his own heart that beats. For this, he even used the psychology he learned for half a semester. Yes, Leonard smiled and said, actually, it was Rachel who liked it at first, but we couldn't let Rachel drive it after we bought it, right? She was still young at that time. As we played with it, I also liked it, and later I taught Rachel, and we spent a lot of wonderful time together as father and daughter. Yes, Rachel agreed. Until now, our family still goes out to sea together every year. That sounds great. Adam showed a rich man's smile. After hearing what you said, I am also going to buy a sailboat. Leonard, you and Rachel will teach me when the time comes. Are you going to buy one too? Leonard was surprised and said, sailing boats are not cheap. A good one can't be bought for less than $20,000. Dad, Rachel explained, in addition to being a Columbia student, Adam is also a writer. The Lord of Mysteries published last year was quite popular. The royalties from the second edition alone earned $500,000. Amazing achievement, Leonard praised. I thought I had thought highly of you, but now it seems that I still underestimated you. You are definitely the best young man I know. Thank you. Adam smiled reservedly. Rachel is actually very talented. Rachel screamed, interrupting Adam and winking at him. She wrote erotic novels. It's okay to show them to friends, but it's too embarrassing to tell her father before she becomes famous and makes a lot of money. What's wrong, baby? Leonard asked concernedly. Nothing. Seeing Adam nod knowingly, Rachel breathed a sigh of relief and said a few perfunctory words. In the following time, with Adam trying to flatter and make friends, and Leonard himself admiring Adam, the two chatted enthusiastically, and Rachel interrupted from time to time, causing bursts of hearty laughter. Monica sat there with a wry smile, whispering to Phoebe, they look like a family. Yeah, Phoebe nodded repeatedly. Ross kept curling his lips, venting his unhappiness. Although he didn't like Leonard, he also hoped to replace him with Adam. Only Joey was happily eating the big meal, not idle for a moment. In his eyes, food should not be wasted. It took a long time. When Monica and the others were almost dozing off, Leonard finally ended the chat with a sense of unfulfilled desire, reached out to call the waiter, got the bill, checked it, and calculated the tip. This kind of dinner was naturally not AA, but Leonard's treat. Chandler didn't come. There were 7 people in total, and it cost $500, which was considered a big meal. Excuse me, I'm going to the bathroom. After Leonard calculated the tip, he signed the bill and stood up. Ross glanced at the bill, as if he had discovered some great secret. and exclaimed proudly. Chapter 115. The Gap Between People. Inside the restaurant. "What's wrong?" Monica asked. Rachel had guessed the reason and covered her eyes with her hands in shame. "It seems that our great surgeon is not very good at math." Ross shook his head and sneered proudly. "He only gave a 4% tip." "So?" Adam said indifferently. "So, he's too stingy," Ross said disdainfully. "Normally you should give 15%. With so many people like us, you should give 20%. At the very least it should not be less than 10%. "What's 4%? Is tipping required?" Adam retorted. "Is it mandatory?" "Of course," Ross shouted. "This is to thank the waiter for serving us." "Rachel, you are the waiter, you tell me about it." Rachel coughed and whispered, "This is my father." "This is your father?" Ross shouted. "Aren't you bothered by his behavior?" "Okay." Seeing that Ross was not giving in, Rachel said angrily, "If he comes to our cafe to drink coffee, someone will definitely sneeze into his coffee. But I have told him countless times and he can't change it at all." "Why should he change?" Adam interrupted. "You are the ones who should change." "What?" Rachel and Ross shouted in unison. "Tipping is just a custom, and a bad habit formed over the years. It is not mandatory. Otherwise, if you don't give it, it will be considered as a free meal." Adam explained, "This is from Europe. At first, it was just a way to thank the good service and show off wealth. Now it has evolved into a must-give, and there is also a ratio. If you give too little, you will be despised, and the waiter may even contaminate the food." "If this is not a bad habit, what is it? How can this be considered a bad habit?" Ross argued. "This is equivalent to not paying part of the meal fee to the restaurant, but directly to the waiter, as long as you give it appropriately." "What do you mean appropriately?" Adam interrupted. 10%, 15%, 20% of the meal fee? Can you guarantee that the psychological expectations of each waiter are the same? You give 15%, and he thinks he should get 20%. Even if you give the highest 20%, but he thinks he is handsome and his service is particularly good, will he ask for a higher ratio? Don't say it's impossible. The increasing ratios of 10%, 15%, and 20% explain everything. Once they are dissatisfied, your food is at risk of being contaminated. People spend money to eat to enjoy themselves. Do they have to guess the psychological expectations of every waiter in every restaurant, and then worry about whether their food has been sneezed on? Instead of this, why not just cut off this bad habit and directly calculate the fixed proportion of the portion that should be given to the waiter and to the meal fee, and let the restaurant pay it, without the direct interests of the waiter and the excessive psychological expectations of the customers? The cleanliness of the food will definitely be greatly improved. And serving customers, isn't this the waiter's job? Hiring waiters to serve customers is the job of the restaurant. Otherwise, do customers have to do it themselves? It's not a buffet or takeaway. Moreover, every time you give a tip, the customer has to calculate it by himself. Isn't it troublesome? Shouldn't the business serve the customers to the greatest extent? These are universal rules in the world, and you are breaking the rules. You are wrong. You are wrong. Ross was speechless and could only deny it like a repeater, unwilling to accept Adam's wrong theory. "Adam, tipping is now a convention. As long as it is within a certain range, it is acceptable," Monica explained. "What you said is too extreme." "Yes." Ross's eyes lit up. "You are too extreme. How can there be so many people who are greedy? At least I have never seen one since I was a child." "Really?" Adam smiled playfully. "You have never seen it?" "I heard that every time someone stays in a hotel, he not only packs all the hotel's toiletries, but also keeps asking the waiter for rolls of toilet paper, and even takes away the light bulb of the bedside lamp." "Monica." Ross couldn't listen anymore and shouted with red ears. "Yes, someone is talking about him." Originally, he would have said confidently that this was his right. No matter how unhappy the hotel and the waiter were, they could only keep it in their hearts. Moreover, as smart as he was, he never stayed in the same hotel. But he had just criticized Leonard for being stingy and giving too little tip, and tipping is indeed not mandatory. Even if the waiter was unhappy, he could only wait until next time to retaliate. Is there any difference between the two? Obviously not. Therefore, he was embarrassed. "I didn't tell Adam, I swear." Monica raised her hand quickly, determined not to be a scapegoat. "Okay, I'm just making a metaphor. Adam smiled and said, Leonard is a cardiothoracic surgeon at the New York University Medical Center. His annual income is equivalent to your 10 years. Does he need that little tip? Today he treated us and spent $500. Is that stingy? Of course not. Just like you definitely don't need those rolls of toilet paper and lamp bulbs, as long as it is within the rules. It is a personal freedom to make any choice. Don't use this to criticize others, or even raise it to the level of morality and character. That would be meaningless. What are you talking about? At this time, Leonard came back and asked curiously. Nothing. Nothing. Ross quickly covered up, still looking at Adam eagerly. Nothing. Adam smiled and perfunctorily passed it over. His words were half true and half false. In his eyes, the tips in the United States are like the share money in his previous life. They are driven higher and higher by a few people, even to the point that most people can't bear it. No one wants to take the red bomb, but they have to take it anyway. It's no joke. If you don't give enough, you will be despised and lose face. Here, you risk being sneezed and spat on by the waiter. Even some relatives and friends with a strong sense of justice will despise your moral character. It's a bad habit. This is the truth. But is Leonard fighting this bad habit because he insists on principles, or is he just stingy? Well, Adam is not sure. He is just flattering. As for why he didn't say what happened just now, we have already taken enough shots openly tonight, so let's change it. When the time comes, it will be said unconsciously from Rachel's mouth. That way it will be more sincere and the effect will be better. Alas, in order to prolong his life as soon as possible and avoid dying young, he is really working hard. According to Leonard's words to Fool Sheldon, comfort yourself. This is an inevitable interpersonal communication convention. You have to follow it even if you don't like it. But flattering and saying nice things to flatter is much better than the chrysanthemums are withered. The ground is full of wounds. Your smile has turned yellow, and the flowers have fallen and people are heartbroken. Let's go. Leonard ended the dinner in a good mood. As the attending physician of a large department in a large hospital, he is flattered by interns in different ways every year. He should have been accustomed to it and ignored it as a matter of course, but people are different. Adam is talented, rich, and ambitious, and he is also a good friend of his beloved daughter. How can such a young man flatter those slutty bitches? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 116. Date 520. Downstairs. Rachel, are you free next Saturday? After everyone said goodbye to Leonard and arrived downstairs of the apartment, Adam, who was sitting in the driver's seat, smiled and looked back at Rachel. Huh? Rachel, who was sitting in the back seat, met Adam's gaze. Her heartbeat stagnated, and she said in a panic, "Yes, I'm free." "Then go buy a sailboat with me?" Adam invited. Okay. Rachel couldn't refuse, and couldn't even be reserved. Monica and Phoebe in the car looked at each other, and thought of Ross, and they both said badly. Outside the car, Ross and Joey, who got out of the taxi, also heard it. And Ross was immediately distraught. "Aren't you going up together?" After getting out of the car, Monica and the other two walked upstairs, but found Joey leaning against the car window and talking to Adam, while Ross stood there in a daze, and couldn't help but stop and ask, "You go up first. We'll be there soon." Joey turned around and waved his hand. "Okay." Monica shrugged, reached out and pulled Rachel, who almost missed the stairs, upstairs. "What's so mysterious that Monica and the others can't know?" Adam asked with a smile. "Dude, what are you doing?" Joey glanced at Ross, who was standing there in a daze, frowned and said, "We all know that Ross likes Rachel, although he has never had the courage to confess, and we don't think highly of him. He will confess sooner or later. As a brother, how can you ask Rachel out now?" "I just invited her to help buy a sailboat," Adam explained. But before he finished speaking, he was interrupted. Ross said sourly, "Just buying a sailboat? The three of you were so intimate tonight that you looked like a family. Is there anything wrong?" Adam said with a smile, "It's normal to be like a family. This also shows that I don't want to pursue Rachel. After all, if I really wanted to pursue Rachel, I would definitely learn from you and keep confronting Leonard. Ross' eyes widened, but he was speechless. Although Americans value freedom in everything, if two people fall in love, they don't have to look at the faces of their parents-in-law. But it is also a common operation in line with human nature to please their parents-in-law. The reason why Ross likes to confront Leonard is not only because Leonard is a bit venomous, but also because he hides a violent temper under his tender surface. From the fact that he often turns into a roaring emperor and roars, it can be seen that in the original Time and Space, he was fired by the Museum of Prehistoric Biology because of this. Really just buying a sailboat. Joey didn't hear Adam's sarcasm, and said happily, "Adam, are you really not pursuing Rachel?" Ross's ears also stood up, looking at Adam eagerly. In fact, they had no confidence to question Adam, because Ross had never confessed his feelings. It can't be that because Ross has a crush on Rachel, others can't pursue her, right? So many of Rachel's ex-boyfriends said, "Who are you?" And Adam's own conditions made Ross feel heavy and panicked, let alone appearance. Who can resist the boldness of buying a boat just because of a disagreement? Adam glanced at Ross, and after a while, he said leisurely, "I never thought of pursuing Rachel. It was really just to buy a sailboat. I invited Leonard first." Ross immediately pressed his chest and let out a long breath. Adam couldn't flirt with someone's daughter in front of her father, right? Adam didn't learn psychology for nothing. He saw Ross's thoughts, rolled his eyes, and secretly complained in his heart, "Fortunately, I am a serious person, otherwise I would definitely make you cry rhythmically." His purpose was so obvious. He struck while the iron was hot and further strengthened his relationship with Leonard. He called Rachel because she was the most important bond and could better promote the warming of the relationship. Perhaps only Ross, who thought with his lower body, and Joey, whose mind was full of food, could not see it. Well, obviously he was still too naive. Upstairs, the three girls returned to apartment 520. "Monica, Phoebe, did you hear that?" Rachel, who looked dazed, said in disbelief, "Adam is asking me out." "So?" Monica said unhappily. "Do you think I should say yes or no?" Rachel's words didn't make sense. "You've already promised him," Phoebe reminded with a smile. "What?" Rachel seemed to have just remembered it and exclaimed, "OMG, I think I really agreed to him." "How could I agree to him? He's a playboy. He also has that Carolyn." "You don't have to worry too much about Carolyn." Monica rolled her eyes at Rachel, who was obviously saying one thing and doing another, and said, "A playboy like Adam shouldn't date too many people. If you really have feelings for Adam, Juno and Karen who came last time are the ones you should be most worried about." "How could it be?" "Impossible." "I didn't." Rachel denied it in a series of ways, but couldn't help asking, "What's the matter with Juno and Karen?" Adam's female high school classmates, two very outstanding girls. Phoebe gestured with her hand. "Karen has an angelic face and a devilish figure. Even we are moved when we see her. Juno is smart and generous, and a little playful. Karen is better." Monica added, "Although her appearance and figure are the most attractive, for a playboy like Adam, her lasting attraction is not strong, but Juno is different." Phoebe couldn't help but nod and agreed. "Juno is indeed different." "How is she different?" Rachel asked. Monica thought for a moment and organized her words. "She has a kind of temperament. I can't really say what it is. The most important thing is that she and Adam really have a tacit understanding, as if she and Adam are the same kind." "Adam must have a story with them," Phoebe reminded. "By the way, Juno is from Harvard. Karen is also in Boston. Didn't Adam say that he would go to Harvard Medical School after graduation?" Rachel's face became a little unnatural. "You're not really into Adam, are you?" Monica said puzzledly. "He's a playboy, even worse than Joey's one-night stand. He never falls in love. We can be friends, but definitely not suitable for love." I know, Rachel said anguledly, "but he will be a doctor in the future, and he may be a cardiothoracic surgeon like my father tilde." "This damn Dr. Dad control." Monica rolled her eyes, and spared no effort to stab him again. "You are 22, he is 19, you are 3 years older than him." Whether it is from her brother Ross's side, or from Rachel herself, or even just from a female perspective. Anyone with a little bit of rationality knows that a playboy like Adam is not suitable as a love object. She must keep stabbing Rachel. I know, Rachel still said so, but her expression clearly revealed that she understood the truth, but she just wanted to try it, just taste it and feel it, without investing emotions. It's actually nothing. Chapter 117 What can I use to conquer you? 520. What? Just when Rachel was in a self-deprecating state of mind of I'd rather try it than do anything else because of her serious Dr. Dad complex, Joey and the others came up and hit her hard. Did Adam invite my dad? Yes. Ross was in high spirits again at this time, shaking his head and saying, he invited your dad first. It seems that we all misunderstood Adam. Monica smiled. Yes, Adam is still very principled. Phoebe nodded and said, if it were any other playboy, he would have had an intimate relationship with all of us a long time ago. What? Rachel looked over in surprise. Impossible. Monica quickly denied guiltily, I have always regarded Adam as a friend, and I know that you liked him at the beginning. Phoebe. How could I get close to him? Come on, Phoebe sneered, even if he is a friend's ex-boyfriend, I don't believe that you have never cheated on him. No. Monica felt guilty and glanced at Rachel subconsciously. Rachel happened to look over, and exchanged glances with Monica, then looked away guiltily. Haha. Phoebe saw that she still had something to not understand, and clapped her hands and laughed. I knew it. I'm laying it on the table. Monica, remember Jason Hurley? What? Monica was shocked. You and Jason had an indescribable relationship? When? Just a few hours after you broke up. Phoebe giggled. Wow, you're amazing, Phoebe. Rachel praised. Enough. Monica interrupted with her hand. We're talking about Adam inviting Rachel. Let's not talk about those old things. What else is there to say? Ross was puzzled. Adam's invitation was just to buy a sailboat, and Rachel and Rachel's dad have experience to help with reference. It would be great if it were that simple. Monica rolled her eyes and complained. Monica. Rachel called out. Okay. Monica looked at the time, stood up and clapped her hands to see them off, saying, it's late, the boys should leave, and it's time for the girls to go to bed. Go, go, go. Ross' heart sank, and he suddenly had an ominous premonition. When Monica drove him to the door, he pried open the door and asked, why is it not simple? Nothing. Monica was not sure what Rachel was thinking, so she naturally couldn't say her guess. She said perfunctorily and closed the door. Why? As soon as the boys left, Rachel couldn't bear it anymore. She kept looking at herself in the mirror and muttered, am I not beautiful? Of course you're beautiful. Monica and Phoebe gave a positive answer. Rachel, who was just 22 years old, was really youthful and beautiful. It's no wonder that she was selected as the most beautiful actress in the world by People magazine and was called the Golden Boy and Jade Girl with a certain skin. So Adam has a problem with his aesthetics? Rachel asked in confusion. Why else would he date my dad? Maybe Adam likes the most heinous ones? Phoebe guessed. You haven't seen Karen. That figure. Tut tut. Is it that exaggerated? Rachel looked down at her feet and said unhappily. Let me put it this way. Phoebe smiled and said, look at Monica, then look at yourself, and then you two can barely compare with Karen in figure. Rachel looked at Monica's curves that could only be seen at her toes when she looked down, far exceeding her peers, and said in disbelief, are you sure? Oh, I'm sure. Phoebe smiled and nodded. If you don't believe me, ask Monica. Otherwise, why is it called a devil's figure? Monica crossed her arms and said awkwardly and helplessly, even if it's a best friend, it's a bit uncomfortable to be looked at like this. And there's an angel face. Phoebe added, Karen is no worse than you, and she's the same age as Adam. Rachel couldn't help but lie on the sofa in frustration. Don't be like this. Monica comforted, you are just impulsive. You may not feel this way after you get up. After all, that's Adam. He is our good friend, but we all despise his view on love. Remember? I know. Rachel said the same old thing again. She agreed with her mouth, but her eyes and expression were completely different, full of unwillingness. Monica smiled bitterly. It is said that men have a desire to conquer, but as free women under the lighthouse, They are not inferior to men in this regard. Rachel's state is obviously due to the desire to conquer. The next day, early in the morning, Adam came to breakfast on time. Seeing Rachel, who was wearing black stockings and a black short skirt and was obviously dressed up, coming out of the bedroom, he couldn't help but whistled and joked, "Wow, what day is today?" OMG. Monica was making breakfast. When she looked back, she couldn't help but put her hand on her forehead. How could she not recognize Rachel's lucky battle skirt? Rachel, who was overwhelmed with the desire to conquer, really didn't give up so easily. "What date?" Rachel walked in front of Adam, showing her curves intentionally or unintentionally, pretending to be stupid. "You are dressed like this so early in the morning. Don't you have a date?" Adam teased. Rachel's mouth twitched, and she looked at Monica. Monica spread her hands and shrugged, as if to say, "You should give up now. Adam obviously doesn't mean that." Rachel snorted and waved her palms lightly, saying, "What date is there? This is just my normal dress." "Why? Do you think it looks good?" "Of course." Adam still didn't react. His attitude has always been clear. Rachel and Monica have criticized him before. Who would have thought that Rachel would be thinking about him in just one night? "Going to buy a sailboat on Saturday, and you also made an appointment with my dad?" Rachel touched her lucky battle skirt, smiled proudly, and said casually, "Yeah." Adam nodded. "Didn't I say that at the dinner last night? I also want to buy a sailboat. Leonard is an expert in this area, so he can help me take a look. Just find me." Rachel said, "I have been learning to drive a sailboat with my father since I was a child. I can help you choose and teach you how to drive. You don't have to find my father. He is actually very busy." "I know." Adam shook his head and said, "But I made an appointment with Leonard. He said he has time next Saturday, and it will be more lively for everyone to get together." "What if my father suddenly has surgery?" Rachel said unhappily. "Then postpone it." Adam said without hesitation, "Actually, I'm not in a hurry." Rachel suddenly didn't want to talk. She couldn't imagine how a man like Adam could pick up girls. Could it be just relying on a face? Isn't her sitting posture and words obvious enough? P.S. Thanks to Zion Dan Sharon, reading affects memory, demon incarnation, sleeping bag 6. Book Friends 20200724120130132765, and Bill Wang AHA for their rewards. It seems that few people have turned on automatic subscription. Please subscribe automatically. Chapter 118 Get Out of the Way. Rachel is going big. 520. After Adam finished breakfast and left, Rachel lay on the sofa, raised her feet, slapped the sofa with her hands, and muttered, "What should I do? What should I do? What should I do?" Just like Adam had no experience of actively picking up girls, she had never actively pursued men. Every time she put on a skirt, posed, flashed her eyes, and spoke in a tone, men would come to her eagerly. How could she meet Adam, who was so stubborn? "Give up, Rachel," Monica advised. "Adam obviously has no interest in you." I know. It was another classic Rachel-style agreement. "But I can't do it. I have never failed." Rachel spoke her mind this time. She has been spoiled since she was a child, and with this God-given appearance, she has always been able to get whoever she likes. Even their professor is no exception. How could such a woman tolerate failure? The first time they met by chance in the bar, when she wanted to indulge, Adam appeared in front of her, and she had always had fantasies about Adam since then. Later, when they got to know each other and knew Adam's prodigal nature, this feeling passed. Then Adam said he wanted to be a doctor, and her doctor father crush rekindled her interest. If these were still within the rational scope of just wanting to try, then after she failed after using the lucky battle skirt, it became a personal grudge. She, Rachel Green, had never failed before, and she was never going to fail. "I'm so stupid." Her brain was working fast and her wisdom was fully open. She ignored Monica, thought blankly for a long time, and suddenly slapped her head. "What's wrong?" Monica said with a headache. She didn't approve of friends dating, especially Rachel and Adam, because with Adam's style, this kind of relationship was doomed to fail from the beginning. Rachel would definitely be hurt at that time, and once that happened, the circle of friends would be at risk of falling apart, which she was unwilling to bear. "It's the atmosphere," Rachel said in surprise, I'm so stupid. It's the wrong atmosphere. How can I wear it at breakfast, and you're here with me? I should wear it alone in the candlelight at night for him to see, so it will be most effective." At this point, she slapped her forehead again. Oh no, he has seen this lucky battle dress, and the effect will be greatly reduced. Then, she laughed again. "But it doesn't matter, I have another more powerful dress. That dress is always successful, and no one has ever been able to resist its charm." "Rachel, huh? You're crazy." Monica pointed at Rachel with both hands and complained. "I'm not crazy." Rachel stood up and hugged Monica. "Think about the feeling of liking someone but not getting a response in high school. You should understand me, right?" Monica's mouth twitched. In high school, she was a big girl. Because she was too fat, she was often seen as two people. When her best friend Rachel changed boyfriends one after another, she could only watch with envy. The unconscious discrimination from her parents, the disregard and venomous tone of the boys, all bothered her, who was already at the age of lovesickness, so she could only eat more. She knew too well the feeling Rachel was talking about. "Okay," Monica said helplessly, "but are you sure you want to do this?" "Of course," Rachel shouted. "This is my ultimate trick that never fails. If even this trick doesn't work, then I have no other choice and I will give up." "That's what you said." Monica breathed a sigh of relief, pointed at Rachel, and reminded, "If you fail this time, you will give up completely." "That's what I said." Rachel held Monica's hand and smiled. "But you have to help me." "How do you want me to help?" Monica said with a headache. "You do this." Rachel muttered her thoughts. "Okay." Monica agreed reluctantly. The next night, Monica used the excuse of watching the performance of the elderly art performance group to show her love, and before Adam arrived, she pulled everyone away from Chandler's apartment in advance, leaving only Rachel. With her chef skills, she helped to prepare a large table of sumptuous dinner early, set up candles and red wine, and Rachel also put on her super combat suit. Hearing the knock on the door, Rachel squeezed and pulled, quickly tidied up her super combat suit, and opened the door while exaggerating. "Jack, you are finally here. What's the situation?" Adam was a little confused and said in surprise, "Who is Jack? Didn't Monica say that we would go to see a show together?" "They left first." Rachel pretended to be disappointed and sad. "Jack is a boy I just met. I originally planned to have dinner at the apartment tonight, but I didn't expect that he hasn't come yet. He actually stood me up. Woo woo woo." Having said this, she walked back to the dining table calmly and lay on the table and sobbed. Adam didn't think much about it, and closed the door, and went forward to comfort him. "Did something delay you?" "I believe no one will stand you up, unless he is not a man." "Do you really think so?" Rachel raised her head and looked at Adam with tears in her eyes. "Of course." Adam looked at Rachel's outfit, a red cheerleader uniform with a big L printed on the chest, and smiled. "You're wearing this on a date? Is this Jack a football player?" "No," Rachel deliberately said. "He said that men like uniforms. I only have this one." "Doesn't it look good?" "It looks good," Adam said sincerely. "This Jack is right. It's already this time. He will definitely not come. It's a pity that Monica specially prepared a table of dinner for us," Rachel reminded meaningfully. "It doesn't matter. When Monica and the others come back, we can have it as a midnight snack." Adam smiled. Rachel paused, and the bitter smile on her face didn't need to be pretended at all. She was abruptly angered by Adam's original taste, but the plan still had to go forward. "It won't taste good when it's cold. Otherwise, you can eat with me." Since the end of Barry, I have never had a romantic candlelight dinner. That pitiful look and tone, no man can refuse. Adam naturally had to agree, but at this time he didn't notice the problem until Rachel looked at him with one hand on her chin and asked a series of questions. "So, Adam, where did you grow up?" "Texas." "Are you close to your parents?" "Very close. They are the best parents in the world." That must be very happy. When Adam said that he was close to his parents, Rachel's mouth twitched obviously, paused for a moment, and then stretched out her hand to the back of Adam's hand, drawing circles and enviously. If Adam didn't notice the problem at this time, he would be too slow. With a thought, he had guessed most of it, and said with a smile, "Aren't you close to your parents? I heard that they love you the most." "Of course." Rachel smiled awkwardly, secretly complaining in her heart. Adam should have complained to her. Broken family, severed family ties. This is the main theme of the United States. She listened to comfort and took the opportunity to close the distance with skin contact. And then everything went smoothly. Unfortunately, Adam didn't follow her routine at all, and even asked her back. How should she answer this? It seemed that she only had one final blow. "Excuse me, I need to go to the bathroom." Rachel stood up and walked away slowly under Adam's gaze in an extremely exaggerated catwalk. Chapter 119 The Ultimate Blow. The Ultimate Sound. 520. "So, are you and Carolyn okay?" Rachel had shown her ultimate attack, and after feeling Adam's gaze, she came out of the bathroom with renewed fighting spirit. She, Rachel Green, would never lose. Not bad. Adam had guessed Rachel's plan, but he had no intention of breaking the principle. It would take another 6 or 7 years to become an intern, and another 6 or 7 years to become an attending physician. With such a long time, if he gave in now, he would not be able to guarantee the subsequent development. He couldn't learn to face the magical Amy when he just crossed over and take the initiative to make her not interested in leaving, right? At that time, he was too weak and had to do so when facing dangerous people. Now, he doesn't need to do that at all. And doesn't he have any face? As for breaking up or still being good friends, in the original time and space, Rachel and Ross had been entangled for so long. Now with his conditions, handsome doctor plus well-known writer plus rich man plus full of happiness, Rachel, who almost meets all her fantasies, probably won't be willing to let go. The result of not letting go is that their relationship will inevitably deteriorate. He is not Ross. He and Monica are siblings and cannot be separated. Once the relationship between Adam and Rachel deteriorates to a certain extent, one of them will definitely leave this circle of friends. At that time, there will be no friends. And at that time, how will Leonard Green face Adam, the person who hurt his beloved daughter's heart? Not deliberately suppressing her is already good enough, and you still want to rely on him to help her enter the operating room more often. Dreaming. So Adam gave in. Anyway, Rachel completely meets his aesthetics? No way. The characters in the core circle of urban sitcoms all have one characteristic, that is, casualness, pushing and shouting, looking at each other. One wrong thing is a collision between Mars and the Earth, not to mention the countless small details of life, such as revenge for seeing naked is to look back. Special holidays can't find anyone to make do with wolf kisses or even roll in the sheets. Rachel is the most typical character among them. Among the 6 old friends, Chandler has kissed everyone except Ross, Joey has kissed everyone except Monica, Ross has kissed everyone except Chandler, Monica has kissed everyone except Joey, and Phoebe has kissed everyone except Monica. Rachel is the only one who has kissed all 5 of them. She is the one who feels that she doesn't care about anything. Rachel, who is so casual, has talked to Adam like Carolyn. They can help each other, but it would be too difficult for Adam to have a marathon love affair with her for more than 10 years. Adam doesn't lack beautiful female companions, so why bother with her? Of course, such words must not be said, otherwise Adam, who is a dream blue, will definitely be kicked out of all friends. Is everything okay? Rachel took a sip of red wine and asked, I haven't seen her these days. Did you have a conflict? She secretly regretted why she forgot this at the beginning. She should have asked this question before taking action. No. Adam smiled and said, she and I are not lovers, so what conflicts can there be? She found a new job and left New York. Left. Rachel's eyes lit up. Where did she go? Isn't the opportunity here? But she still doesn't believe it. Can her trick of comforting her fail this time? It's impossible for Adam to say that he is very happy that Caroline left this time. Tereb Parish, Adam said with some strangeness. Tereb Parish? Rachel was stunned. Why did she go to such a ghost place? It's backward and superstitious there. To be a nurse. Adam sighed. I persuaded her, but she insisted, saying that she was needed there. He couldn't help but think of what Caroline said while smoking on the night of the 4-person date. He always felt that it was because of his persuasion that she finally made up her mind. Damn it, he said before that he would do his best, just for the sake of showing it, and having a clear conscience. Who would have thought that Caroline understood that she had to work harder, and not only turned around and went back to her old job as a nurse, but also ran to such a remote place. She is really special, Rachel said strangely. She had heard Monica say before that Carolyn was very caring and treated every patient she took care of as her own family. Now it seems that her reputation is well deserved. If it were her, she would never go to that kind of ghost place. You know, the source of many horror stories in the United States comes from these ghost places. In movies and TV series, the United States is also famous for the large cities where aliens and superheroes gather, and small towns where monsters and ghosts are rampant. There is no smoke without fire. In comparison, if she had to choose, she still felt that it was safer and more comfortable to stay in a big city like New York. Only a fool would go to that kind of ghost place to suffer. Yeah. Adam took a sip of red wine and was a little dazed. Carolyn's departure did not make him feel good. It was not that he was reluctant to part with her, a good friend who helped each other, but a bad intuition. He always felt that something would happen when she went there this time. But Carolyn insisted, and he didn't say much. They were all free women under the lighthouse, and they had to make their own decisions, not to mention Adam, who was more than friends but less than lovers. Even a real lover or even a husband had no right to ask her to change her mind. Are you okay? Rachel was delighted, both for Carolyn's departure and Adam's absent-mindedness. Her chance had finally come. She reached out and held Adam's hand, looking at him affectionately. Of course I'm fine. Adam suppressed his sigh, withdrew his hand calmly, raised his glass and smiled. We've almost finished eating, and it's time to end it. No, Rachel said anxiously, it's still early. How about this, I dance for you? As she said that, without waiting for Adam to refuse, she got up and ran to the bedroom, and took out the cheering balls that cheerleaders were equipped with. Ready, go, give me a C. Rachel, wearing a red cheerleading uniform, waved the cheering balls, and made a capital C, shouting, C. Adam had no choice but to respond. Give me an A, give me an R, give me an O. Rachel formed all the letters of Caroline's name, threw the cheering ball in her hand, jumped, and finally did a somersault. Unfortunately, she had graduated for a long time, and the cheerleading moves were already rusty. After a few somersaults, she couldn't control herself and fell to the ground. Adam was quick-witted and stood up to catch her, preventing her from falling. But because of this, Adam got into trouble again. Rachel, who was caught by Adam and half held in his arms, looked straight at Adam and made the ultimate move, a nasal hum, like the ultimate move of the two generals, Heng and Ha, which was soul-stirring. Chapter 120, The Man Has Love and the Woman Has Intentions. 520. Damn, such a powerful demon. Adam yelled in his heart that he couldn't afford to offend her, but fortunately he was rational and suppressed the urge to shoot the Sino-US co-production version of the Three Strikes on the White Bone Demon. He joked, "Your nose is uncomfortable, do you have a cold?" Rachel was immediately discouraged. This ultimate trick she had created after many battles couldn't deal with Adam. She was completely helpless. Pushing Adam away, Rachel stood up and walked quickly into the bedroom. With a snap, he closed the door. "Rachel, are you okay?" Adam smiled, walked to the door of the bedroom, and asked in a pretentious manner. "I'm fine." Rachel lay on the bed, hammering the bed with both hands, and said angrily, "It's so infuriating." Rachel Green, from birth to now, has never suffered such a big defeat. The key is that she still can't figure out why she failed. Is she not beautiful? Is her figure not hot? Is her cheerleading uniform not seductive? Is her nasal voice not seductive? Or is she not proactive enough? Could it be that she is not proactive enough? The other answers are 100% negative, and this is the only possible reason. She is not proactive enough. Then you have a good rest and drink more hot water. I'm leaving first. Adam didn't dare to stay any longer, and left after leaving a panacea. Rachel has too many tricks. If she comes a few more times, he may not be able to withstand it. The 3 attacks on the White Bone Demon are only 3 times. If there is a 4th time, Tang Seng may be eaten. Don't leave yet, can you? Rachel was about to fight again and again, let Adam go directly into the bedroom, and make persistent efforts to win this battle to defend her charm, but unfortunately she only had time to hear a pop. No, Rachel realized something, jumped up from the bed, opened the door and saw that Adam had indeed left. Pop, pop, ouch. Rachel was so angry that she pounded the door twice, and then cried out in pain. In the next few days, Adam didn't go to apartment 520 to give Rachel a buffer time. After all, she is a girl, and she always wants to save face. Until Saturday, Adam had to come and invite Rachel to go boat shopping together. Of course, he and Leonard could go, but after all, they were two grown men who were not very familiar with each other. Going out to shop for a boat together could easily be misunderstood. It would be embarrassing if someone said it out loud. It was different with Rachel. She was the best lubricant. No, Rachel refused arrogantly. Ever since she tried her best that night and still failed, she had been unhappy for the past few days, thinking hard, and carefully analyzing and studying with Monica and Phoebe, and finally guessed about 70% of Adam's thoughts. It's not that her charm is wrong, it's that Adam doesn't have the courage. He wants to establish a good relationship with her father. With Adam's romantic style, how could her father treat him well if he knew about it? What's wrong? Adam glanced at Monica and Phoebe, who were obviously watching the fun, and said helplessly, "Didn't we make an appointment?" "I'm not feeling well," Rachel snorted. "You need to drink more hot water and rest more." "You told me that." "Did you forget?" "Okay." Adam thought quickly and nodded decisively. "Then you should rest more. Leonard and I will go." It is indeed embarrassing for two grown men to go shopping for a boat, but if Rachel really went there in this state, it might not be a good thing. Weighing the pros and cons, Adam pretended not to know Rachel's ridicule, and did not persuade her much. He agreed seriously and turned around and left. Not to mention Rachel, even Monica and Phoebe were stunned. OMG, is he serious? He doesn't understand what I mean? Does he really have a girlfriend? A series of big question marks hung on the foreheads of the three people. Adam drove to the hospital to pick up Leonard. Under his guidance, he came to the dock. The salesperson was already waiting here early. He successfully bought a nice sailboat for $30,000. Leonard was an old hand, so he took Adam out to sea and taught him step by step. Adam was not Joey, and with his intelligence, strength, and speed, including agility, he could easily learn this kind of foolproof operation, and his level was very good. Naturally, Leonard praised him again, and he did not have the kind of irritability that Leonard had when he taught Rachel and Rachel taught Joey. After playing for an afternoon, they returned home with a sense of satisfaction. "Dad, why are you here?" Rachel opened the door and exclaimed in surprise. "I heard Adam say that you were not feeling well, so of course I came to see you." Leonard smiled and said, "Where are you feeling unwell?" "I feel unwell in my heart." Rachel tried to hold back, but she couldn't help complaining. "Dad, do you know, Adam didn't invite me sincerely at all. He just wanted to use me to please you and flatter you." "I know." Leonard nodded. "You, huh?" "You know?" Rachel wanted to convince her father to believe her, but what she heard was these words, which made her cover her mouth and scream. "Of course." Leonard smiled and said, "Your father is not a fool. Adam's intention is so obvious. How could I not know it?" "Then you still," Rachel was puzzled. "Still cooperate with him?" Leonard laughed and said, "What's the problem with this? Adam has no ill intentions. He just listened to my experience of growing up as a doctor and wanted to avoid those detours. Studying medicine is very hard, and being a doctor is not that easy. Adam writes novels well, and he can develop into a professional writer with both fame and fortune. Why is he trying to please me so much just to avoid taking a detour? I understand him. He really wants to be a top surgeon, just like me back then, but his achievements will definitely be much higher than mine. Such an outstanding young man is certainly worth making friends with." Speaking of this, Leonard touched Rachel's head and smiled dotingly. "I am getting old, and I can't protect you three sisters for a lifetime. And none of you three sisters are willing to develop in the field of medicine. My network resources are useless to you. Instead of wasting them in vain, why not give Adam a chance? He is your good friend. I have secretly observed that his character is very good. With my help, he can grow faster and achieve greater success in the future. Not to mention the chief of surgery, he will have the opportunity to become the dean. Isn't it a good thing for you to have such a good friend? And I have seen and heard too many such things. In order to maintain their influence in the future, Many hospital deans and directors will deliberately cultivate their own direct lineage, and when they retire, they will directly hand over their positions to their direct lineage. I am just an attending physician. It is definitely a lucky thing to meet Adam. Although the three of you sisters have no interest and perseverance in developing in the field of medicine, your children in the future may not be uninterested. At that time, the grown-up Adam will be their best relationship and network. So, you say, why should I reject Adam's kindness? Rachel was speechless. It seems that you are the man has feelings and the concubine has intentions, and you know it tacitly. But she still nodded heavily, and then got into Leonard's arms. How could she not feel her father's deep love? Chapter 121 A Sudden Funeral. At night, in the Central Park Cafe, Adam, Chandler, and Joey were chatting on the sofa. Thank you. Ross pushed the door open and walked in. Seeing Adam, he thanked him sincerely. What are you thanking me for? Adam smiled. You know, Rachel, Ross said embarrassedly. You're welcome. Adam nodded and smiled. We are friends. Yes, Ross nodded heavily. We are good friends. Gossip spreads quickly, and Rachel made such a big fuss. How could she hide it? When Ross heard the news that night, his face turned green. But what could he do? Nothing. He could only sit in the audience and watch the performances of the elderly artists silently. The love he was originally prepared to give had already been shattered. When Rachel ran away from her marriage and came here, he tried to ask her out in a roundabout way, and she actually agreed in disguise. But because of cowardice, he backed off and thought he could wait a little longer. This wait has been dragged until now. Now, Rachel has taken a fancy to Adam and has taken the initiative to ask him out. It's easy for a girl to chase a boy. Everyone knows what they are doing while they are watching the show. This is not what he fears the most and what makes him uncomfortable. What he is really afraid of is that Rachel and Adam will fall in love from now on, and then he will have nothing to do with it. With Adam's excellence and Rachel's beauty, this is very likely. When they go back and find that Adam has done nothing, God knows how ecstatic he is, and he has a strong liking for Adam. This is a person who has broken away from vulgarity and has noble character. Woo! So touching. Joey was so moved when he heard this that he was about to cry. He hugged Chandler, who was sitting next to him, tightly in his arms. We are all good friends. Are you serious? Chandler rolled his eyes helplessly. He was speechless about Joey's hugs at every turn, but he gave Adam a thumbs up. Adam, good job. Liu Hui may be called stupid, but when there is a friend who is not moved by beauty for the sake of friendship, most people will still like him. This is the same as bad people also like to be friends with good people. Friendship first, Adam said righteously. Friendship first. Ross, Joey and Chandler looked at each other and echoed in unison. Remember this moment. Adam's heart moved and he smiled. Friends, girlfriends and even ex-girlfriends should be off limits. When we face choices in the future, don't think with your lower body. No matter how much you think you love her and can't live without her, believe me, it's just hormones stirring. Just find a girlfriend or female comrade to exercise a few more times, and you will soon be able to eliminate this impulse. Don't hurt your friends for the temporary hormonal restlessness. Agree? At this point, his eyes swept over Chandler, Joey, and Ross one by one. That's right, he was talking about the three of them. In the future, the three of them will have moments when they feel sorry for each other. They think it is love, so they can't stand it and have to take action. But after that, they broke up, and there was no recklessness at all when they thought it was love at the beginning. So, it was not love at all, just the restlessness of hormones. And because of these things, their friendship has more or less cracks. At this moment, because he firmly resisted Rachel's temptation, Ross and the other three admired him, which suddenly made him interested. Why not try to change it? Be a role model and set a rule. It doesn't take much time and energy to strengthen this concept from time to time. In the future, whenever they think of this when they do things, have some concerns, and take a step back, the harm to each other can be completely avoided. Friendship is also purer. After all, he also lives in this circle of friends. Not to mention transforming a circle of friends that completely conforms to his three views. At least there are not so many messy things, which is absolutely meaningful and necessary. At this time, Monica hurriedly pushed the door open and walked in. Facing Ross, who was smiling, she said solemnly, "Ross, Dad called and Grandma is dying." "What?" Ross's smile froze. "Grandma is dying in the hospital," Monica repeated. "We need to rush over right away." Oh. Ross jumped up from the sofa. "I'll take you there." Adam stood up and said, "Okay, thank you." Monica and Ross did not refuse and thanked him directly. New York is one of the world's largest cities. Even now in 1993, it is still a hassle to get a taxi. A qualified New Yorker must have the spirit to fight to the end to grab a taxi. Rachel has suffered from this. Once she was in a hurry to get a taxi. Just after she got in the taxi and before she closed the door, she was pulled out by her hair by a genuine female New Yorker and the taxi was robbed. After that, she wanted to resist, but was beaten severely. In the end, she came back crying with a swollen nose and face. New York University Medical Center. Adam rushed all the way and sent Monica and Ross over as fast as he could. But he didn't follow him in. At this moment, only family members should be present. Later, Adam and the others were waiting in apartment 520. Monica and Ross walked in calmly. "How is she?" "She died twice." Ross talked about the experience of seeing his grandmother for the last time in the hospital. When they arrived, they were told that their grandmother had only a few hours left, so they waited until the nurse reminded them. Ross and Monica went in to say goodbye to their grandmother. When Monica kissed her grandmother, everything was normal, but when Ross kissed her, the grandmother who was originally declared dead suddenly stretched out her hand, almost scaring them to death. They quickly found a nurse, and then checked again and again, and finally confirmed that the grandmother was really dead. But Ross didn't dare to kiss his grandmother's forehead to say goodbye again. That moment just now was simply a shadow for him. "Oh, that's too bad," everyone exclaimed. "Anyway, her funeral will be in 3 days. Do you want to attend?" Ross said. Funerals in the United States are usually held 3 days later to give friends and relatives time to arrive. Only for important people will the funeral be postponed to 7 days. Of course, it's a must. Everyone nodded. 3 days later. Morning, Long Island, New York. A funeral home near Monica and Ross's home. Everyone was dressed in black and walked into the funeral home's auditorium. Monica's grandmother's memorial service was held here. Everyone lined up and slowly walked to the open coffin, looking at the deceased lying inside. Because the undertaker had dressed up in advance, the deceased was not scary. Instead, he lay there in the most peaceful and calm posture as if he was sleeping, for relatives and friends to watch and mourn. The speed was very slow, because someone would say something to the deceased from time to time as a farewell. Adam's eyes were attracted by the person standing next to the coffin. "This is a very familiar face. P.S. Thank you for the reward from Comma Warrior, and book friend 201811091919166658. Chapter 122 The Return of the God of War. Funeral Home. In front of Monica's grandmother's coffin stood a middle-aged man in a black suit. Judging from his position and his movements and expressions, he should not be a relative or friend. He looked more like a staff member of the funeral home. According to general customs, he was most likely a mortician. The reason why Adam was surprised was because he was too familiar with the other person's face. This face appeared in many movies he had watched in his previous life. Vicissitudes and determination, iron-blooded and tender, saving the sky, the earth, and the air, the strongest father on earth. Such a powerful person actually appeared at Monica's grandmother's funeral, which made Adam have to doubt the authenticity of the other person's identity as a mortician. Is this another rescue operation, and the other party is hiding his identity? Or, the God of War returns and sees his daughter living in a doghouse. With an order, 100,000 soldiers are about to rush over. Adam had watched many of his movies in his previous life, all of which were of the God of War type. For a moment, he couldn't help but imagine and was quite worried that this place would become a killing battlefield. As if he noticed Adam's gaze, the middle-aged man looked over, exchanged glances with Adam, nodded and smiled. Adam smiled back naturally. This funeral home is the largest one nearby, contracting funeral business, and next to it is a cemetery. After the memorial service, everyone walked out of the funeral home and headed for the cemetery next to it. Monica's grandmother's coffin will be buried here, Unlike the custom in the East Country, everything here is handled by the funeral contractor, and relatives and friends do not need to do anything, just be responsible for mourning. Even the filling and burial are mostly done after all relatives and friends have left, and then the funeral contractor will start to work. What's wrong? Joey saw Chandler looking at him frequently and asked in confusion. Nothing, Chandler mocked. It's just that your coat really looks like a sports commentator. Well, you found it. Joey didn't pretend anymore, and opened his coat to reveal a small portable TV inside. Giants vs. Cowboys. You're watching a football game at a funeral? Chandler said speechlessly. Of course not, Joey said seriously. This is just the preliminaries. I will watch the official competition at the reception later. You are really a terrible person, Chandler concluded. It's not that bad actually. Adam laughed beside him. Monica's grandmother was very old, and she fell asleep without any pain in her dream. It's actually a happy funeral. Look at how sad Monica's parents and aunt are. Really? Joey raised his chin provocatively at Chandler. Monica. Adam was too lazy to pay attention to the daily life of this pair of good friends and called Monica. What's wrong? Monica had been suffering from her mother's attacks for decades and could no longer bear it. When she heard Adam's call, she hurried over as if she was listening to a call. Do you know who the middle-aged man standing next to your grandmother's coffin was at the memorial service? Adam asked curiously. Are you talking about Mr. Deacon? Monica's grasp of the ways of the world is much better than Ross's. As soon as Adam mentioned it, she recognized the person and gave a quick answer. He is the owner and undertaker of this funeral home. Has it always been? Adam asked. That should be it. Monica thought for a moment and replied. The first time I saw him was when I was in high school. He was so handsome and manly at that time. No, it was Rachel who had a crush on him. He was here 10 years ago? Adam was a little surprised and asked, does he have a daughter? It seems not. Monica shook her head and said, I vaguely heard that he lost his wife when he was young and didn't even have a child. He was once the most famous bachelor in the area. Many women and even girls had a crush on him. But later he never had the intention of remarrying. Everyone said that he loved his wife too much. He is very kind and has a good relationship with people, but because of his job, he rarely contacts people except for funerals. If it weren't for this funeral, I would have almost forgotten him. No daughter and no children. Adam raised his eyebrows. It seems that he is not the strongest father on the surface of the earth. Why are you so curious about him? Monica asked curiously. Because someone has a crush on him. Adam joked. He keeps peeping at me. I'll ask him if he has a wife or a daughter, so that he won't make a mistake. Ah, Monica exclaimed. Her face flushed. Because the someone Adam was talking about was her. Although she pretended that Rachel had a crush on Mr. Deacon, she was actually the one who had the strongest crush on him. She had always been partial to Mr. Deacon, a mature, graceful and affectionate man. She had no resistance. Adam smiled, stopped talking, and didn't continue teasing. After all, it was Monica's grandmother's funeral, so it wasn't appropriate to say these things. And he didn't think Monica would be happier with an old man who was so much older than her than with Chandler in the future. This reminded him that Chandler was a mom control, while Monica was a dad control. So it was really interesting that they ended up together. After the funeral, it was March. Columbia University's spring break was here. Unlike the universities in the East, the universities in the United States have a unique spring break in addition to the winter and summer vacations. It is usually in March, which is the middle of the semester. This vacation is specially designed for college students. It is different in different universities. It is usually 1 week, but also 2 weeks. Spring is here. College students who have not had the opportunity to go out after the winter naturally want to go out and have some fun. Adam has made an appointment with Juno and Karen to officially start hunting and practicing surgical techniques. Money makes the world go round. In a short period of time, the real estate agent has done everything according to Adam's requirements. Adam also applied for a gun license and was approved without a doubt. Then he took the certificate to the gun store to buy a rifle and a hunting rifle and bullets, as well as a compound bow and arrow, medical equipment, medicines, food and drinks, etc. After loading everything, he set off to the location of the cabin in the woods. He made an appointment with Juno and Karen in Hartford, the capital of Connecticut. The cabin in the woods is nearby, because this is in the middle of New York and Boston. Adam and Juno set off after talking on the phone, and they met in Hartford smoothly 2 hours later. Then, they went to Walmart and bought a local hunting license, buying a lot of quotas for various animals. That's right, hunting licenses can be bought directly at Walmart. Surprising, isn't it? After that, they found the real estate agent who was already waiting, and drove to the cabin in the woods in a convoy of 3 cars. When they arrived, they saw that the electric fence had been pulled outside according to Adam's requirements. Under the guidance of the real estate agent, they visited the cabin, checked that all the improvements met the requirements, signed the check, and under the ambiguous gaze of the real estate agent, Adam and the other 2 moved in. They will spend a wonderful and exciting week here. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 123. The first night. That night, after the 3 of them had packed up, they gathered on the sofa to watch the video. Of course, it was not a soap opera. It was not a horror movie. It was not an action romance movie. Where did you get it from? Juno asked in surprise, looking at the surgical process in the video. Remember my friends in New York? Adam smiled and explained while watching the videotape. The new member, Rachel, whom you haven't met. Her father turned out to be the attending physician of the cardiothoracic surgery department of the New York University Medical Center. Have you established a good relationship with him? Juno had guessed what Adam had done before he finished speaking, but was still a little surprised. So fast? Friends are friends, and family are family. It's okay to get to know family through friends, but it's not easy to get in touch with them and establish a good relationship. First of all, there is the age difference. Secondly, the social circles are different. Friends and their parents usually rarely meet, let alone you who want to build a relationship through friends. Even if you fall in love with a friend, it won't be so fast, because it's the same everywhere. The father regards his daughter as his lover and little cotton-padded jacket in the previous life, and the man who falls in love with his daughter is hateful. Not giving him a cold shoulder is already very generous. And you still want to be good friends with him? What a dream. When Ross and Rachel were dating and were about to meet their parents, Rachel repeatedly told him that she could say anything, but she couldn't say he was doing her. Yeah. Adam also sighed. I didn't expect it to be so smooth. Maybe I'm just more popular. Juno rolled her eyes at the shameless Adam, and said pointedly, maybe he also wanted to help, otherwise it wouldn't be so fast. Adam was stunned, and then nodded suddenly. Leonard really admired me from the beginning. This relationship must be maintained well, Juno reminded. The attending physician of a large department in a large hospital will be very helpful to your future. Yeah, Adam smiled and said, otherwise, how can we see these videos now? These videotapes are surgical videos accumulated by Leonard over the years as a doctor. They are very precious and rare, and it is difficult to buy them even if you have money. More importantly, because Leonard is a cardiothoracic surgeon, these videos are almost like a microcosm of the era in which Leonard grew up. For Adam, who wants to grow into a cardiothoracic surgeon, it is very helpful. It's a pity that I plan to study neurosurgery. Juno looked at the video and shook her head. She is very interested in human psychology. Even if she plans to be a doctor in the future, she is steady and has checked relevant information early and chose neurosurgery, which is most closely related to human psychology. Adam also chose cardiothoracic surgery early because of her reminder. The path chosen by Juno is much more difficult than Adam. Even in 2020 in the previous life, neurosurgery involving the brain is 90% destiny and 10% talent depends on hard work, not to mention that it is only 1993 now. Most of the videos Leonard gave were about cardiothoracic surgery, which was not as effective for Juno, who chose neurosurgery. I'll help you get some neurosurgery videotapes when the time comes. Adam patted his forehead and cursed himself for forgetting this. Okay. Juno smiled and said, but don't worry. You can look at these first. Neurosurgery and cardiothoracic surgery are not completely isolated. When doctors rotate to study, all specialty projects are involved, but later they will choose one department to concentrate on studying until they become top doctors in the specialty. And knowing one thing leads to knowing many things. Neurosurgeons can also perform cardiothoracic surgery, and cardiothoracic surgeons can sometimes perform neurosurgery. It all depends on the individual's technical level. Seeing that Adam wanted to pat his chest and make a promise, Juno reminded him, "Dr. Green is willing to lend you these precious videotapes. Obviously, he values you. But you'd better be careful and wait a little longer to make the relationship better." After all, he also asked others for help to get those videotapes. "It's not the same thing." "That's right," Adam nodded. "It's the same everywhere. The more you use, the less you use. It's stupid to ask for too much without restraint and management feedback." "Speaking of this," Adam said casually, "I'm not going to apply for Harvard Medical School." Leonard graduated from Columbia Medical School and is also a doctor at New York University Medical Center. He has all the connections in New York. "I'm going to apply for Columbia Medical School." Then, he told Juno about Leonard's huge pitfall about the promotion of interns. "You're right," Juno confirmed Adam's idea. "I've also heard vaguely that there's no such thing as waiting for interns. Even medical school students have such things. Many students particularly worship technical authorities. Many medical school professors have divorced because of this." "Damn." Adam's mouth twitched. He was still too naive and underestimated the competitiveness of medical school students. "Then do you want to take the exam too?" Adam asked subconsciously. "No need." Juno smiled. "This Dr. Green is just the attending physician. It's okay for him to take care of you alone, but it's a bit difficult for him to take care of two people." "I don't care much about rapid promotion. Although Columbia Medical School is also a top medical school, it is not as good as Harvard Medical School, which has been ranked first for many years. I will go to Harvard Medical School, and I can exchange some different technical experiences with you at that time." Whether it is Harvard Medical School or Columbia Medical School, they are all private colleges, and the textbooks used are self-compiled textbooks. Even if the procedures are the same, there are still many differences in technical details. These differences are sometimes a reflection of strength. Of course, this is not enough to offset the huge impact that personal connections can bring. However, with Juno, Adam, who chose personal connections, can learn more about the technical details of the medical Holy Land without delaying either. In this regard, Adam could only admire. "You are right." The two communicated for a long time. Later, Adam simply turned sideways to talk to Juno. His peripheral vision swept across a shadow that covered the sky and the sun. His eyes were dizzy. He looked closely and remembered that Karen had always been there, but because she didn't say anything and quietly leaned against Juno, Adam almost forgot that she existed. Ahem. Adam's throat was a little dry, so he coughed a few times and smiled. "Karen, how are you doing recently?" "Very good." Karen glanced at Adam, as if wondering why he was talking to her, but she still replied with a friendly attitude, probably influenced by Juno. "Very good is good." Adam was a little embarrassed, especially when he met Juno's half-smiley eyes, and laughed dryly. "Karen is very talented in cooking." Juno smiled and said, "Let her show her skills tomorrow, and you will be feasted." "I believe it." Adam nodded repeatedly. Then, the three of them didn't say anything, staring at the slightly bloody operation in the videotape together. If someone broke in at this time and saw this scene, they would probably be scared to death. Chapter 124 Lulu is so cute. The next morning, after breakfast, Adam and his two companions, each carrying a gun, headed deep into the forest. This was their first time hunting, and Adam was quite excited. He held his gun and carried his compound bow, scanning quickly, trying to get the first shot and win the prize. Although the United States is rich in forest resources and some animals are sometimes rampant, they cannot be seen everywhere. The three walked for a long time and did not even see a shadow of an animal. Ideals are full, but reality is skinny. Adam could not help but complain. "It seems that you really like ideals." Juno was calm and composed. Hearing Adam's complaints, he could not help but joke. Haha. Adam could not help but hear the ridicule in Juno's words, But he pretended not to understand and did not respond to Juno's words. He just laughed and continued to scan the surroundings. After all, this is a forest. It is not only animals that are dangerous, but also people. Vigilance is necessary. Fortunately, Adam's basic attributes are far superior to ordinary people. He is sharp-eyed and focused. Once there is a slight movement, it is difficult to escape his observation. Juno is also so steady and terrifying. Karen's attention was not on hunting at all. Without Juno's reminder, she was on guard with a gun. In addition, they had enough guns and ammunition, and they had all practiced grappling and fighting, so their safety was guaranteed and they were not too worried. If they really met someone who was blind, it was hard to say who should be worried. Over there, Adam saw a figure out of the corner of his eye and immediately reminded in a low voice, "It's a deer." Juno looked closely and said excitedly, "Deer are large animals, and they were lucky to encounter them on the first day. I like to eat venison." Adam held the gun and scanned the deer to confirm whether there was anyone around, and smiled. "Especially roasted venison with wine? It's a special kind of fun, but it's missing the heavy snow and red plums. It's not uncommon to accidentally shoot people while hunting, so it's never too careful, otherwise, it won't be a normal life. And it will have to change to a supernatural horror style." "Why do you need heavy snow and red plums?" Juno was also helping to observe and confirm, and he asked curiously. "The world is covered in snow, and the red plum blossoms stand proudly and stand alone, with bright red embellishments, which makes it more artistic." Adam's mind was naturally the artistic conception of the glass world is covered in white snow and red plum blossoms, and the powdered girls eat fishy and stinky food and dream of the red chamber, but it is not something that can be told to outsiders. Juno looked at him strangely when she heard this. Adam didn't know that she had already thought wrong, and he was highly focused and made the final confirmation. "Clear, clear." Juno also concentrated and made the final confirmation. The two were still not satisfied, and after confirming again and again, Adam aimed the muzzle of the gun at the deer that didn't notice the danger and pulled the trigger. Bang! Adam's shooting skills were the master that Coach Old Mike often despised and shouted that he was showing off. His hands were steady, and the deer fell down as soon as the gun sounded. "Good shooting skills," Juno praised. "Let's go over and take a look." Adam was refreshed, put away the muzzle of the gun, and waved his hand. The three walked quickly to the place where the prey was, and saw the deer lying quietly on the ground, with blood all over the ground. This is an adult male deer with a body length of 2 meters and a height of about 1 meter and 2 meters, weighing more than 100 kilograms. A large animal. A good start. "Let's stop here today." Adam smiled and said, "This deer is enough for us to toss." "Yeah." Juno also smiled and nodded. If it were an ordinary person, it would be a bit troublesome to transport such a big deer. But Adam didn't need Juno and Karen's help at all. He just lifted the whole deer and carried it on his shoulders, with great ease. "What on earth do you eat to grow up?" Seeing this, Juno stretched out her hand and pinched Adam's muscles, and sighed. "You look thin when you are dressed, and you have muscles when you are undressed, but your muscles don't seem to be able to support your strong strength, and your strength seems to be getting stronger and stronger. This is a talent." Adam smiled and said, "There is nothing I can do." Juno smiled and let it go. No matter how smart she is, she would never have thought that there is such a cheater as Adam in the real world. The three of them followed the original path back to the cabin in the forest. Adam placed the deer on the operating table. The two put on masks and surgical caps, and then began to wear light blue surgical gowns, which were of course one of the medical supplies Adam bought. Since it was a simulation to familiarize themselves with the surgical process, everything had to be as real as possible. Anyway, Adam didn't lack the money, so he bought all the necessary equipment. Juno saw Adam looking at Karen tying the belt behind her, and smiled and nodded to Karen. Karen ignored him, but just helped Juno with her heart. Juno shrugged. Adam's mouth twitched, and he had to do it himself. "I fired the first shot just now, and now I'll give you the first cut." Adam took the scalpel, but didn't cut it immediately, but motioned Juno to make the first cut. Juno didn't refuse, and took the scalpel and cut the deer's abdomen. The sharp scalpel easily cut open the deer's abdomen, revealing the internal organs. Adam pulled the spotlight to get a better look, and began to discuss the body structure of the deer with Juno, and compared it with the human body, with a strong academic atmosphere. The big deer was dissected as Adam and Juno cut and discussed. Adam and Juno also cut the tenderest part into pieces of appropriate size and thickness at Karen's request. Karen took the venison out to process it, and prepared to roast the venison for lunch while it was still fresh. "Do you want Karen to help you make soup?" Juno skillfully sent the long-dead male deer into the palace, and teased Adam with a knife. "I heard that this thing is very tonic, and you said you don't know martial arts." "Oh, no, it's castration technology. I saw it all." "How can you tell this just by reading in books?" "Too skilled." "No need." Adam's mouth twitched, and he complained, "I'm afraid of getting angry." "What's there to be afraid of?" Juno teased. "You're really greedy for Karen anyway. How about I help you make an appointment with her?" "Don't be kidding." Adam was not fooled, and pouted. "If that's the case, I'm afraid you'll bring a knife to me tonight." Hee. Juno smiled and didn't respond. The two continued to dissect and understand the structure of organisms. After a while, Adam couldn't help but look at her. "Haha." This time, Juno laughed out loud. Adam immediately understood and grinned helplessly. How could he play tricks with Juno? He made up his mind not to take on this topic in the future. Jushiren once said, "When the mouth is open, the spirit is scattered, and when the tongue moves, right and wrong arise." He also said, 10,000 words are not as good as silence. It's true. "What should we do with the deerskin?" Juno said with a smile. "Should we sew it back or make a coat out of it?" "Just sew a coat for yourself without doing anything?" Adam said unhappily. "Of course we sew it back. We use the deer to practice our rescue skills, not to play with them." Chapter 125, Wine doesn't make people drunk, people get drunk. All morning, Adam and Juno were dissecting and studying the structure of organisms, bickering from time to time. The originally bloody scene actually seemed a bit warm under the aura of practicing the technology of curing diseases and saving lives. Adam, who had never killed a chicken before, was not uncomfortable at all when he saw such a heavy-tasting scene. Jushiren said, "Reading requires the company of one or two good friends to make progress." This is true. If it weren't for Juno and Karen, even if Adam had the financial resources to do this, he would probably only think about it and then forget about it. It's crazy to run to the deep mountains and forests alone to hunt and dissect and practice surgical techniques. It was Juno's positive response that led to the current scene. What you learn from books is always shallow, and you must practice it yourself to know it thoroughly. After the actual dissection, you will know the feeling of holding a scalpel to cut animal tissue, which cannot be described in words and text. Time passed unknowingly. Adam suddenly wrinkled his nose and sniffed hard, exclaiming, "What a nice smell!" It must be Karen roasting the venison. Juno also sniffed and smiled. "Let's stop here in the morning. We will go out to help." "Okay." Adam nodded, and he and Juno helped each other take off their surgical gowns and walked out of the miniature operating room. Karen had already set up the grill and other things there, and all the auxiliary materials were ready. Pieces of fresh and tender venison were placed on the rack and were being roasted, and waves of tempting barbecue aroma came. "What can I help with?" Adam smiled. "No." Karen shook her head. "I'll clean the table. You go get the red wine and wine glasses." Juno took the responsibility to instruct. Among the three people, she was the core, connecting the two. Adam had no objection and went in to get it. After everything was ready, Juno took the plate and took the roasted venison from Karen and placed it on the dining table. Adam stood up and poured half a glass of the decanted red wine into everyone's high-heeled glass. "This is not home after all. Just a little bit of your own appreciation will do. It's not safe to get drunk." "But you know safety comes first." Juno rolled her eyes. "Do you know how much Karen and I can drink?" "Give me some more." "You can drink a lot." Adam's heart moved. "Better than you anyway." Juno smiled. "This is enough for you to drink." Adam smiled bitterly, unconsciously recalling the experience of blacking out after drinking. While refilling Juno and Karen's glasses, he pondered whether he should ask what happened that night. "Enough, it's almost full," Juno reminded. "What are you thinking about?" Adam quickly lifted the bottle, stopped pouring, and shook his head. "Nothing." "Forget it. God knows what happened at the time. Although Juno and Karen are now friends recognized by the system, it probably won't matter if I ask, but it's better to be a little confused when you need to be confused. Juno raised her glass, tapped it with her fork, and toasted. Today we can gather here, play hunting games, and enjoy delicious food and wine. The first person we want to thank is our rich Adam. It is you who let us enjoy the leisure and entertainment of the upper class. Thank you, Adam. Cheers. Cheers. Adam smiled and clinked glasses with Juno and Karen, and took a sip. The second person I want to thank is Karen, who made such delicious barbecue. Thank you, Karen. Cheers. Juno raised her glass for the second time. Cheers. Karen smiled very sweetly. The third person I want to thank is Fate. It is she who brought us together. Thank you, Fate. Cheers. Juno raised her glass for the third time. Cheers. Adam clinked his glasses again and teased. The fourth person I want to thank is Juno. She can decide whether we can eat. Let's eat. Juno put down the goblet, took a knife in one hand and a fork in the other, cut a small piece of venison, and put it in his mouth. Adam followed closely. Karen smiled and looked at Juno, humming with aftertaste. The taste of venison is closer to beef, but it is much more tender than beef. Moreover, it is killed and eaten right away. Karen's cooking skills are really great. The combination of these factors makes the taste really great. I must bring this back for Monica, Chandler and others to try. Adam sighed as he ate. There's a freezer. You can take it back and eat it for a long time. Juno was much more polite. He took a bite, sipped the red wine, shook the goblet, and said with a smile, "On the day we leave, we will go and kill another one. After a little processing, you can drive it back directly. They can eat the freshest venison." Good idea. Adam praised. Let Monica cook it. She is a chef. I believe it will be a different flavor. After eating several pieces in a row, Adam slowed down and imitated Juno, shaking the goblet, watching the blood-red wine swirling in the glass, looking at the two beauties beside him. His eyes were quite blurred. This is life. Karen, will it rain tomorrow? Juno took a sip of red wine and asked suddenly. Adam looked over subconsciously and almost sprayed the red wine in his mouth. Karen touched her conscience, weighed it twice, and said hesitantly, "There will be showers tomorrow, probably around noon. It seems we have to get up early tomorrow." Juno looked at Adam with a smile, her eyes full of playfulness. Yeah. Adam nodded repeatedly, swallowed the wine in his mouth, and then quickly took a big sip of red wine to calm down. Although he knew it before, he was still shocked when he saw Karen use it. Karen's trick is really amazing. It's a waste of talent not to be a weather forecaster. Looking at Juno, who was obviously teasing him again, Adam's mouth twitched. In the morning, Juno said in a joking tone that she would help him make an appointment with Karen, because he couldn't hide his desire for Karen from her. Seeing that the two of them had such a close relationship, Adam naturally refused. But he had a glimmer of hope. He thought that if you persuade me a few more times and be more sincere, I might agree. Unfortunately, after waiting for a long time, Juno didn't say anything. This disappointed Adam, secretly regretting whether he had missed a great opportunity. Maybe Juno really wanted to match him with Karen, so he couldn't help but look at her. But what he got was Juno's laughter. Adam was sure that he was teased by Juno, but in the end, he still couldn't figure out Juno's thoughts. Was it an unintentional tease, or an intentional warning? The mind of playing with psychology is dirty. Even if he studied psychology, he is no match for Juno, who is talented. Now seeing Juno teasing him again, no matter how itchy he is, he decided not to be fooled, and he was extremely fortunate that he resolutely rejected Juno's idea of making soup for him before, otherwise he really couldn't bear it. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.